Game Boy friend.
Yeah.
Did you just say Game Boy friend?
It's the first 3 words I could think of. So
Yeah, we're GBFs.
yeah, we're GBFs.
We trade Pokemon all the time.
Yeah, I agreed to get Shield if Dave gets Sword. And
Nice.
so
Plebs not getting both.
you can get
Look at me, pleb, getting neither.
Hey, fuck you, bitch. You can get the there's a package where you can get both.
Oh yeah, we're rolling.
Howdy.
Hello, and welcome to, I believe, the 9th episode of the Cage Fight podcast.
9th episode. And
Yeah.
Is this our first time talking about Pokemon on air?
It
That's
can't be.
so crazy.
No, I think that shit's been going on since episode 1.
We're gonna have to,
Probably in some...
we should probably cut all that.
Yeah, Nintendo might sue us.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say it. I don't care if this is slander. Nintendo fucking sucks. Mario, ugly. Super Smash Bros. Who are they?
Can we
Mario.
kick Mike off the podcast?
I'm just kidding. I loved my Switch is my most prized possession. Honestly, I've been playing a lot of West of Loathing lately.
Oh, that's on the Switch?
Yep.
Yeah,
I played that on Steam. I loved that game.
it's great. I actually just started Kingdom of Loathing today because
nice. I was
well-
thinking about trying that, but
join my
it looked like it was an
guild.
MMO, and I'm not a super MMO person usually.
Word. It's fun though. And hopefully my boss isn't listening. I signed up so I could play with my friends while I'm at work instead of like doing work.
It's always the best.
Actually, cut that. We'll cut that. So how's everybody doing? Oh, we have to introduce ourselves.
Yeah, so I am the man, Nick Cage.
That's
Legally changed his name.
we really buried the lead. We're sitting across from Nick Cage today. Special
Yep.
guest. Can't believe we forgot to mention that.
Oh, hi guys.
Twist.
No, I'm Nick with a K, unlike the Cage Man. Across from me is Mike. To my right is Zach, and on the boards we got Dave.
Engineer Dave, soon to be former Engineer Dave. Before we get started,
Firing me.
before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to my GeForce gang, all my fellow fans of GeForce out there.
You are about to join G-Force, the government's most elite team of spies, on a top secret mission. In 3, 2,
What is going on?
1.
G-Force, Delta Formation.
You bitches! You bitches! This is murder! Murder! You'll all be guilty! And you're doing it for nothing! Killing me won't bring back your goddamn honey!
Shout out to my GeForce gang.
That was amazing.
We're official now. We have pushed GeForce through to the second round, and together,
Much to my chagrin.
GeForce was amazing.
together using hashtag GeForce gang, we will get GeForce through to the final round.
Oh,
And that is
God.
my decree.
I'm watching that movie one more time and never again, personally.
I mean, it's gonna be hard to beat.
I don't know.
How many other movies on here have secret agent guinea pigs?
Exactly.
Only one other.
Well, hold on. Nick Cage was kind of a secret agent in Stolen, and he was kind of like a guinea pig for the idea of bank theft in this thing. So I don't know.
So, I
I think
mean,
the other
that's-
one had it too, and you guys viciously knocked that one out of contention.
Because it was against GeForce.
Yeah, if that would have been against any other movie except for GeForce, Deadfall, or Xandalee, I would have sent it through.
We all know
Our final
the
round's
final
going to
round.
be G-Force versus Zandalee.
No, it's GeForce versus Deadfall.
You know, when I was clipping that together, I really tried to find some clips from Xandalee that I could throw in there,
I'm
but
glad you couldn't.
but nothing really stood out. So I will have to. I'll have to try that next time.
Please don't.
Well, good work there.
You bitches!
Is that up on YouTube or anything? Or?
No, but I can send it to you.
All right, I think we might slap that up there for
Put it
all
in
the people
the
that
link
want
in the
to
description.
make me sad.
Yeah, we're
put a
gonna
link.
put the link in the description, and once again, hashtag GeForce Gang for my fellow GeForce aficionados like Zach here. He's the only other one here that I can look to. For,
We all know
Yeah,
Nick.
fuck that movie.
Yeah, that movie
We all
sucks.
know Nick is secretly a G-Forcer.
Yeah, he's reluctant to admit it in a public forum, but
It's more so we
I-
have contention on the podcast. In private, he actually loves the movie.
yeah, I last week when we came in to
take
record the
issue with
podcast,
all of this.
he came in to record the podcast. I showed up a few minutes early, and he was kind of watching the end of GeForce, and he was sobbing, and I'm talking just
That
face
was only
swollen.
because I am like synesthetic, and I heard all the farts, and I could kind of smell them, and it was making my eyes water.
Well, that doesn't explain why your Snapchat story is full of just G-Force.
Yeah, it's a lot of like you driving your car, but you can tell GeForce is playing over your stereo, and you're like talking along to it.
That's because I love being tortured, okay? I'm into masochism.
And what better way to torture yourself than watch the movie that you're afraid to admit is your favorite movie? I get it.
All right.
G-Force is great. We all know.
This is a weird point for me to be getting hard, but
It's a little early, but if you can maintain, I'd say
it will sustain, my friend. It will sustain.
if you can hold it for the whole podcast,
Sustain.
we'll
You
have
might
like,
have to see a doctor.
or we'll have
Wait,
like
was that,
quite a blast
Was
at
that
the end.
Eminem?
Yes, that was. Eminem came on the podcast briefly.
We got
Maintain and
Eminem,
Sustain.
and Nick Cage here today.
Getting brain from your bitch, she lame.
We decided what could make this podcast better, but two more white guys. So that's what we've got going on.
Yeah.
We
lot
are a
of white
very
guys who
diverse group
scream.
on the cage fight.
Oh, it's Eminem.
It's Eminem.
He's only talking through rap.
Do all this while you're panicking, and you're looking and staring at mannequins, and I'm going to Fannikins trying to get up a plannikins. All of the plannikins, Anakin, panikins. All the panikins, Anakin, Anna in a cabana. I'm in a cabana in a Janet. I'm in a cabana chanting all the stand-up banner. Well, you don't got the stamina, you're lacking the
Famous
stamina.
verse.
You're lacking the stamina while you're divorcing Harrison Ford. And I'm in a
Eminem,
porn.
I understand, but we wanted to get like
Well, I'm
an interview
torn.
going, not just you rapping.
You're
Like,
using way too many napkins.
Mr. Mathers?
Napkins is chapstick. You're
But-
using chapstick and napkins with
look,
a
it's a
napkin.
great verse, but like,
Flapping
please, I
around
need
like a
to.
napkin.
He's foaming at the mouth.
Damn.
This has nothing to do with either movie.
Is this because of all my tweets where I say that you're trash, sir? Because I apologize.
Oh yeah, he's mad at Mike.
Fuck. Well, I'm definitely going to release a better diss track than MGK ever would. So
That's not really saying a whole lot.
That's
though.
not saying really anything. But I did make that GeForce drop, and that was fire. Let's admit it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not gonna diss the song that you made, but I am gonna diss its message.
I got a feeling.
And I just want you to know how much pain it put me through to have to make that, because I think
Yeah,
I've got a
I
feeling-
can feel the pain in my ears.
I think I've Got a Feeling is the most horrid song ever written, and I had to listen to that opening guitar riff like 30 times just to get it right. And I fucking hate that song so much.
You know what? You guys talk shit about the Black Eyed Peas all the time, but we all know everyone loved them.
Hey, I'm
Please
not
take
saying
that back, sir.
I'm a monkey
Take that
business
back.
guy though, or whatever it was called. I got a feeling I'm out. I got a feeling that I'm never gonna give them another dime.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would take it over. Let's get it started.
How could you forget Apple Diap?
Yeah,
From the
who
Phil
I mainly
Ipines.
remember because that name is fucking awesome.
It is.
Hey, just a note. I know we're not talking about anything important, but I
First of all,
accidentally
fuck
just
you.
dropped my phone on the space bar, so I had a brief pause during that dialogue, so it's probably not still going to be there. But I can play the theme song again. We're rolling again, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
So again, looking for a new engineer.
We're looking for a new engineer to blast.
What was that? I was yo-yoing.
We're looking to blast some Black Eyed Pea jams.
You
And-
have to like G-Force. You have to like Black Eyed Peas.
I feel like
And you have to like Nick Cage.
who doesn't like G-Force? It's
Yeah,
Only
that's, like,
one
goes
of those
without
three is
saying.
required. and
there's
it's
a
the
whole
Nick
gang
Cage
of
one.
us.
Yeah, people are gonna start tuning out of this real quick, man.
Alright.
You can't fuck with them like that.
All right. Let's go on here.
I'm not in charge of editing.
I actively fuck with the editors while they're editing.
See, my favorite podcasts are the ones where they have a subject, but they don't ever address that subject, and they just kind of do whatever they want.
So what'd you think of Sonny?
You know what I want to say about Sonny? Hashtag GeForce Gang approves.
Sonny is more like a cloudy day over my life, and
That whole movie felt like it was trying to be like deep or something.
oh yeah,
Was it?
But
was
Did
trying
you
quite
not
hard.
find it deep?
no.
Hold on, I'm trying to remember what it's about so I can defend my position that it's deep.
James Franco is a man slut.
Oh yeah,
And
James
at the
Franco.
end of the movie, he's a man slut.
Oh right, this is the prequel to the Deuce Bigelow series.
I'm pretty sure this is before Spider-Man.
It actually, I looked it up. This is like
this is 2002.
4 months after Spider, like 5-6 months after Spider-Man. So
Oh really?
he's been on top of the world, and then Nicolas Cage with his fucking widow's peak comes in and says, "Let me drag it down to the bottom, my friend," and he does it.
Let me give you a shit roll to go along with that kind of good one, so that way you can start making movies with Seth Rogen. But yeah, so Sonny came out in 2002. It's rated R, and it's directed by Nicolas Cage.
Holy shit!
In his directorial debut, I believe. This
Ooh,
is
that's
the
a shame.
first movie he ever directed, and it makes a good case for why he shouldn't anymore.
But what other movies has he worked on? I like to usually look into the directors and see has Nicolas Cage done anything besides?
I don't think he's
Directing
been in
Sonny?
anything.
Hmm.
I think this is his only thing related to movies.
This is
He's mostly a music producer.
yeah. He definitely produced the original version of Let's Get It Started.
Let's get it started, you bitches!
The story, the narrative that was put out there is that they called the song Let's Get Retarded, and they had to change it so the NBA could use it.
Mhm.
But in reality, they called it Let's Get It Started, and Nicolas Cage said, "Wait, you know what's way funnier?" And so that's what else he's done.
Well, because
And-
then he just kept going like, "You think I'm a fucking retard, man? You think I'm a fucking retard?"
And that's how we got there.
Yeah. So, production companies Gold Circle Films and Cage's own Saturn Films. Runtime of 110 painfully long minutes. I'm sorry if my feelings
Wait,
of
that
this
was
movie are already
only
dripping through.
110 minutes?
Yes.
Went by real fast.
Budget of $4 million, a box office gross of $132,000. So,
Wait, was this a wide release? Do you know, or was it like?
I couldn't really tell.
Because I've never heard of this movie before.
I hadn't heard of it either, but it's pitched as a indie movie.
Okay.
So I assume it didn't get a super wide release.
Yeah, and when we say indie movie, we mean Indiana Jones Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
This was a crime drama?
I mean, there's crime and it's a drama.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, technically prostitution is a crime. So,
I mean, I guess.
So reviews 23% on the tomato meter from Rotten Tomatoes, 42% audience rating. And as a man of the people, I have to say
42% of people were wrong.
yeah, I have to point out when the people have gone astray. And,
Yeah, that's been kind of a consistent theme, hasn't it? That the audience rating is usually, for some reason, better on the bad movies.
yeah, the audience rating is generally higher than the critics rating, except honestly, it's if the if it's really well rated critically, the audience rating will be lower, and if it's really highly rated or lowly rated critically, the audience rating will be higher. It's
Well, I know the people
are like,
really hated that fucking hamster movie, and like
Everyone
you
loved
guys
that
voted
movie. I know
for
what
it.
you're
So
talking
I
about.
mean,
I feel like
Every
was-
kid to this day is talking about G-Force.
I went to Walmart last week, and they still got the action figures out, and they can barely keep them in stock. So, and this movie's like 10 years old.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
yeah.
And
I'm gonna go on a fucking public destruction of G-Force campaign if I can.
I feel like maybe next week, instead of doing 2 movies, we should review the G-Force 3DS game
Oh, that
While
existed.
rewatching G-Force.
while watching G-Force. Do a commentary.
Yeah, so I dropped my phone again. I didn't want to tell him.
Tommy Wiseau, director of The Room, is a fan of this movie, and
That sounds
apparently,
about right.
apparently he said that Franco's performance in it gave him confidence in Franco's ability to portray him respectfully in the movie The Disaster Artist, so he okayed that.
Yeah.
So,
Big woof. It's like when I was watching this movie, I made the observation that I felt like this is probably what Tommy Wiseau thought The Room was going to be, and then when I read that afterwards, I was like, okay, well, this makes complete sense, because there's a lot of weird sex stuff and
Yeah,
There's
relationships
a lot of
in this
weird
movie.
stuff.
yeah.
And it just definitely it seems like what he was going for.
Yeah, this movie's kind of
A mess?
a total mess. And it reminded me a lot of The Room in its messiness, but
Yeah, it was it was kind of a mess in that I had to clean myself up after watching it. You know what I'm saying? Wank, wank.
see, I don't relate because I found all of the sex in this to be profoundly unsexy.
I
So
have
you
never
got to
been.
see James Franco butt.
I did. That was actually one of the better parts
It
of
was.
Or how about naked lady getting cough syrup thrown at her?
That was maybe my favorite scene. That was.
It was definitely the
fucking
best scene of the movie.
Insane.
Actually,
Uh,
my second favorite.
That's I would put that at a solid 2. After Cage, who also stars in this film, well, not stars, is in this film in a cameo.
Oh, that's not my favorite.
Oh.
My favorite scene in this movie is the restaurant scene where the waiter's like, "Hey, you gotta put shoes on."
Oh yeah. Oh, we'll get to that.
Yeah, I've never been more flaccid in my life than for the 110 minutes that I was watching the presumably meant to be sexy Sonny.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, a lot of this movie kind of reminded me of watching like the buildup of a story before like a porno, and then at the end of it, like the sex isn't even like good enough to. It's like watching a bunch of bad pornos, but not wanting to masturbate.
It's like clipping out all the worst parts of a bunch of pornos and putting them together, and like seeing how long it takes you to get hard from it.
But
And
not
the
even
answer
those like
is-
good porno openings, like lemon stealing whores.
yeah, not like the classics. I'm talking bad stuff.
Yeah. You got some trivia there?
There is not a ton that I found about this movie. Although I did find this interesting. James Franco, apparently in preparation for the role, visited male strip clubs in New Orleans and followed a male prostitute around, including in a hotel while the prostitute did his job.
So
Wait,
that's
to
great.
James Franco?
I don't know.
If so,
Like, is this just James Franco admitting that he paid a male prostitute and wrote it off as like a business expense?
yeah,
See,
maybe.
here's what makes this even more suspicious. He didn't say anything about this until 2010 in a New York Magazine interview. So he kept it under wraps for quite a while.
Who interviewed him about this movie?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the questions was like,
What do you regret the most?
what role is probably the most confusing of yours? And then he told a story about a time that he watched a male prostitute suck somebody off to prepare for a role. Okay, to prepare for a role. And
Wait, 2010, that would have been around the time of 127 hours, right? I think. When did that come out?
When did Spider-Man 3 come out?
I don't know.
I think that was like 2007 or 8.
2007 or 8, yeah. 127 Hours was probably around there, like 2010, 2012. When did that guy lose his arm? What year was that? When did it really happen?
Is this still at the time where James Franco is trying to get with like 12-year-olds?
Wait, what?
I think it was a 14-year-old that he was.
Is
trying
James
to sleep
Franco friends with Bryan Singer?
Well, so one thing we should address is that James Franco is canceled. I feel like he's also like physically abusive or something. He's a piece of shit or whatever.
I guess I'm not.
I
I don't
mean,
pay attention enough.
Have you seen what James Franco looks like?
Yeah. There was a lot of emoting in this movie. Where I guess I had never really taken the time to admire his facial expressions in movies, but he always looks quite confused.
Yeah. Well, I always kind of thought that, like, that's why I thought he was perfect for like Pineapple Express and stuff, because he looks like a guy who's already stoned out of his mind, kind of.
Right.
But
he has a very punchable face.
Yeah. I didn't realize that James Franco had been canceled. I guess I missed that whole thing.
Yeah. So we don't have to do a James Franco podcast because, in case anybody forgot, the ultimate goal of this podcast is to find evidence to cancel Nicolas Cage.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that in a minute, but
oh yeah, that might have just been in like the first or second episode.
Yeah, ultimately,
that was the first episode.
I thought the goal was to get Nicolas Cage in more movies.
Well, I support Nicolas Cage, despite the fact that I'm trying to cancel him.
Mm-hmm.
I just
is this like a philosophical like fault line in the podcast? Is this drama?
Oh, it might be a rift between our styles and our intentions.
Or is this more like as if we are putting him on trial and these are the pieces of evidence, and at the end we're deciding whether he or not he should be in more or not?
I suppose.
Yeah, we're kind of trawling for evidence.
I'm not gonna lie here. I'm a biased prosecutor here because, like I said, I think in the first episode, people have been calling me Nick Cage my whole life, and I'm not down with that. Although I'm getting more down with it now after I've seen Deadfall. I could do that maybe, but I'm not that frumpy and weird. And so
well, let's slow down.
You know what's weird is this episode. This is a weird episode.
This is
we've only been rolling for 22 minutes.
This is what we've been working towards the whole time. Okay, we got the G-Force gang, we got the cancel Nicolas Cage squad.
Well, I think this just shows how much we don't care about Sonny.
Yeah. Let's
Sonny?
hop on into the plot summary of the plot.
What if we try just like doing a quick synopsis to get by Sonny?
Yeah, I'll go through it pretty quick. There are some things I do want to talk about, though.
Yeah, there's some definitely interesting scenes in this movie that need to be discussed and unpacked.
So it's New Orleans again.
Again.
According to my count, this is the 5th time.
Least surprising twist ever.
New Orleans, 1981. James Franco is coming back from the army. He's walking down a street filled with strip clubs in a military uniform as soft piano music plays, and he stops at his mom's house. And his mom is apparently, like, runs a brothel, kind of, but she's only got one employee, and her name's Carol. And she wants James Franco, who's named Sonny, to work with her because Franco, before he left, was a male prostitute. So we got
and a damn good one.
Mm-hmm.
Judging by how fucking hard his mother begs him to go out and bang middle-aged women.
Yeah, seriously.
Like
she is 100%. Her life goal is to make sure her son keeps fucking people for money, which is it
was a little bit much to take in at first because it just seems like a strange relationship. But I guess if it's like a family business type of deal, it's
gotta keep it in the family.
Yeah, right.
So
this is, you said, the 5th time we've been in New Orleans with Nick Cage.
Yeah.
I am sick of the New Orleans accent.
Yeah, I am too.
Sorry, New Orleans,
were bad in this movie,
but it's terrible. Like
Franco's accent in this was pretty bad.
His mom is
atrocious.
Holy shit!
half the time I couldn't make out what she was saying.
Yeah, and it wasn't even believable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, we've watched so many New Orleans movies at this point that I don't know if I can tell anymore what a good or a bad New Orleans accent is, but as soon as she started talking, I was like, dear God.
Yeah, please.
This has made it clear I never want to go to Louisiana.
So yeah, we find out Franco tells his mom, I don't want to be a prostitute anymore. I met this guy in the army and his dad runs a bookstore and he says I can move there to Texas with him and get a job. And his mom's like, oh yeah, well fuck you, you piece of shit. And then he storms off to his room.
So much happening here. So first of all, we right off the bat get Franco's mom calling anybody who is like not a prostitute squares. Like they're that's true. That's true.
I'm not a prostitute and I am a square.
Should we be saying sex worker? I don't know. Sex worker. If you're not a sex worker, you are a square.
A prostitute would be a type of sex worker.
I think they say specific. Prostitute in the movie, so I think we can say it.
Okay, so these whores are running around, sucking all these dicks. But yeah, so we get Franco's mom, being furious that he doesn't want to go fuck people, and also it's very strange to me that like his backup plan is going to work in a bookstore.
Is that not your backup plan?
That's
I feel
if
like
everything tanks, I'm just going to Barnes and Noble and applying for cashier.
It is my backup plan. Don't get me wrong, but if I'm writing a movie, I would maybe think of like a more exciting or interesting.
What's more exciting than the world of books?
Hey, you got me there.
The book thing becomes relevant thematically in the movie, and one scene that I'm guessing you guys probably let pass by you, but I have a lot to say about for some reason.
Oh
God. So in the middle of this, there's soft piano music playing as James Franco sits on his bed. And then abruptly we get like psych trippy rock music as we cut to a guy in a used car dealership getting a blowjob from Carol in exchange for a Pontiac Firebird.
Yes.
And I was very confused by this scene that lasted all of 15 seconds, but she gives him a blowjob, she gets a Pontiac Firebird, and she drives away, and then back to Franco. And shirtless in bed as Carol comes in and pays him to sleep with her, which is strange. I don't understand.
Strange relationship. Two prostitutes, one paying the other to prove that he is as good of a prostitute as his mother says he is.
Yes.
Well, the mom's biased.
Well, yeah, because, I mean...
My son can fuck like nobody else.
He can put that dick down like you would not believe, honey. When, Carol, if you wanted to paint a picture, is Mina Suvari from American Beauty. And we go from...
that's the second time in 2 episodes that we've had an actor from American Beauty.
Yeah, we've had the creepy dude and...
the bag floaty guy.
Now the lead who is sucking a guy's dick for a car so she can give it to her coworker who she is also paying for sex.
Well, I think she got it for the whole house to use or something. I wasn't really clear on that because she takes it back at the end of the movie when she leaves. Spoilers. So then Franco's getting his suit tailored. He asks the tailor, "Is there you got a job here?" And he's like, "No, probably not. I'll look around, but I'm saying no, I think." And then an older lady shows up and recognizes Sonny, and she's like, "Oh, how you doing? You joined the army. Why didn't you stick around and keep fucking me?" And
I got my friend here who would love to get fucked.
She's with her friend, and her friend's like, "This is the one you told me about?" And
come get a drink with us. And he's like, "No, okay, fine, I'll get a drink with you." And then
for someone who apparently very adamantly does not want to be a sex worker anymore, he's very easily swayed into he just kind of runs back into it.
All's right into it again.
Yeah. And I mean, he must be pretty good at fucking.
Oh yeah. So he comes home afterwards and finds out Henry, her mom's boyfriend, is in jail for shoplifting for like the 50th time. And Henry is played by
Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah, Harry Dean Stanton, who I just remember from Alien when he gets lifted by the alien up into the rafters. The first murder by the xenomorph and not the facehugger. But anyways,
worth mentioning in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff too. He's kind of like one of those guys that's like in the background of action movies, never quite the forefront. He's like the guy who's working the boards on the submarine or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's the sound engineer on the submarine.
He actually might be the sound engineer on this podcast pretty soon.
Hey, fuck you.
No, Dave's paying attention suddenly. Oh, shit.
First time for everything.
Got him.
Yeah, but apparently...
Wait, did I miss something?
We've been calling your name for like 15 minutes. Help me, Dave. Oh, sorry.
Apparently his mom is planning on having Carol sleep with the bondman to bail him out, and then James Franco, Sonny, is a little bit upset by this, but he's like, well, whatever, if that's what's happening, that's what's happening. And then Carol walks in, and his mom's like, if you fucking are planning on running off with Sonny, let me tell you right now, he doesn't give a shit about you. He only acts like that because that's how he acts for his job. And then Carol is rightly like, why the fuck are you saying this to me? You weren't being like this before. And she's like, I own you. Like, you are mine. You make money from me.
And it has never been more apparent how badly she wants to fuck her son.
Yeah.
She's so mad that this young hoochie mama came in and swept him off his friggin' stinky feet.
Well, so anyways, then we see that Carol and Sonny's mom are gone for a while, and Henry and Sonny are talking alone in the house, and Henry's like, you know, I heard you want to go to that bookstore and work there, and let me tell you, that American dream, average life, it's not as interesting as you think it'll be. And then Sonny's like, yeah, but I gotta try, and he's like, all right, good luck. I hope at least one of us can succeed. And this is where we start to get, like, the whole fatherly role thing creeping in, which becomes a big thing in this movie, but doesn't really matter. Sorry, I'm going through a lot of this, I guess. But.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of the movie wondering, I guess, why this relationship was present, because it didn't really seem that pivotal until like the one moment where it became a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But
I thought that was his dad from the beginning, the way, like, because, like, especially this scene when it's like, oh, he's giving advice and, like, wants him to do better or whatever. It's like, oh, like, that's his dad, I guess. He's always with his mom, and I just assumed. And then, like, halfway through the movie, they're just like, oh, wait, that's not his dad. Oh, okay, I guess. And then at the end, it's like, oh, that was your dad, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, when that, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but when all that happened, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to know or not. If he was,
did they want us to be surprised?
Yeah, or was the audience
when that came up? I was like,
know?
"Yep, totally called that. Was not surprised."
Yeah, I was wondering if the audience was supposed to be in the know and James Franco just wasn't, but it was all very confusing.
Maybe that wasn't even like in the script for like being a surprise. Maybe that actress who was his mom was like, James, like, that's supposed to be your dad, and then she's like, what? And then he freaks out, and that's...
I think Nicolas Cage walked onto set that day and he's like, you know what? There's not enough scenes where James Franco's flipping a table in this movie. We need one more.
We need him to just beat the shit out of some guy.
Yep. But anyways, after that, we have one of like 15 times where this movie cuts from very soft, quiet dialogue to incredibly loud music. And he's driving on his way to Texas to go get that bookstore job. Sonny goes to his friend from the Army's house, and finds out that the store was repossessed by the bank and now has a new owner, and he can't get a job there anymore because his dad's not the guy.
Oh, fuck.
So here's the thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit here. While they're sitting there talking, Sonny's friend, who I never got his name through the movie, and I don't care to find out.
Played by Scott Conn, and I don't know what his name is.
He is not important.
He hands Sonny a book that's like 5 inches thick and says, "It's The Stranger by Albert Camus. You should read it. It's good." Now, I personally have read that book, and let me tell you, it is not a 5-inch thick book. That book is like 100 pages long. And like,
it's real big print.
Yeah, that's the big text edition for old people.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I totally see, because the whole theme of that book is about like alienation from society and from yourself, basically like feeling disconnected from the world. And I'm like, yep, you're gonna beat us over the head at every point with your theme here that isn't already really obvious. But I don't know. For some reason, just seeing that very thick book there completely broke my immersion. Like, I was just like, I read that in a day. Like, I don't know.
You're just really quick at reading.
Yeah. Also, obviously, you haven't read the expanded edition, which is the one they used in the movie. So, fake fan.
But yeah, obvious theme is obvious. Just
yeah, and
references well-known book about alienation and says, "Hey, read this. I think you would like it, main character."
even not having picked up on that reference, the alienation theme is just so blatant in this movie. It's like, calm down a little bit. I don't need any more shots of James Franco getting emotional. He played it well, I guess.
I thought this movie had a problem of just having had so many of like the same scenes over and over again.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it just kind of like cut and paste for after you saw like the first chunk of it.
Yeah, all the sex scenes could have been cut out of this, honestly. Like, none of them really did anything but pad the runtime. And it was just like
if you kept one of them,
yeah,
it would have like shown that the whole like he's being treated as a prostitute, he's being treated as an object or whatever.
Yeah, and he's not getting paid adequately for his job and shit like that.
You could have shown it once and then be like, oh, okay. But no, it's like we have like 4 scenes of it. Like,
yeah,
and they all go on for a long time and don't really. I mean, I think some of them are supposed to be sexy, but they all just feel really awkward and clunky.
I don't know which ones are supposed to be sexy.
And I get there's like gilf fetishes, I guess, that some people could be into, but like most of these sex scenes are with like older ladies that are past their prime.
Let me tell you something. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think the only people getting anything out of this were people who were attracted to James Franco pre-cancellation.
Yeah, they had seen Spider-Man and they were like some mom took their kid to see Spider-Man and she was like, hey, I really want to fuck Green Goblin's kid. And now there's this movie coming out where he wants to fuck me for $300. I'm going to give him 2.
Yeah. But yeah, then Sonny's friend, after, telling him, hey, read The Stranger, then asks him to go out on a double date with him and these 2 sisters that he knows. And Franco says, I've never been on a real date before. And then he's like, what, are you gay? And he's like, no, I'm not gay. It's just I haven't been on a real date because I get paid for this. He doesn't tell him that. But they go out on the date. His date says, you're a strange man. I want to fuck you. So they go upstairs and sleep together. While his double date is also sleeping with,
in the next room, also banging.
Also with a kid in the house.
Was there a kid in the house in this one?
Yeah, because like when they get home, like, or to her house or whatever, she's like, don't put the music on too high. My like kid's asleep. And,
I missed that.
And that's when they're like, oh, you have a kid? And she's like, yeah, is that a deal breaker? And he's like, huh? And then they just continue on.
Yeah, and in case you didn't believe James Franco's mom that he's really good at fucking, the first conversation they have is that, wow, you're really good at fucking. Yeah. She even says,
you should do this for a living.
And he's like,
yeah. He's
and
like,
so he thinks revelation time.
He's like, haha, yeah, I do. And she's like, no, you're not. Only ladies are prostitutes. And then he's like, oh, but I was. And she's like, oh shit, I can't deal with this. I gotta go drink some codeine.
Like, that seems
this
so
was
out of
so
nowhere.
strange.
Yeah.
And why is he so against it?
He fucking flies off the. I was not expecting any of this to happen.
Naked fight.
Yeah, just naked fight. He sees her drinking codeine. He smashes the cough syrup bottle on the wall. Just starts tearing apart her bathroom looking for more bottles. Then goes into
while
her
screaming that she's a
closet.
fucking junkie.
Yeah,
I'm better than you. I'm better than you.
Yeah. Then he finds more bottles in her closet, which he also tore apart, smashes those.
All while naked.
Yep. the other two naked tenants of the house run in, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And they push him back, and he just starts screaming, "I'm better than all of you!
I'm better than you!" And we get the great line from Scott Conn, whatever the fuck his character's name is, where he's like, "Come on, I drink beer sometimes. She likes a little cough syrup."
Yeah.
But like, is it ever mentioned why he's so against drinking cough syrup?
I think
I couldn't figure it out.
He was real sad about Pimp C. Hadn't happened yet at this point.
Yeah, he was wearing a rest in
he was
peace
down,
ASAP Yams shirt. But what I got from it is that, so this is where we're starting to get the feeling that he like feels judged for what he does or what he used to do, and he's insecure about it, and so like he feels that other people think that he's unclean, and so he's like, "Hey, you think I'm unclean? Well, you're fucking drinking cough syrup, and I'm gonna smash it on the wall."
Well, that's why at first when that scene started, I thought she went to go grab like Listerine or something like that to do that whole like, oh, he's a filthy human.
Yeah, because
but no, it's just like, oh, she's getting high.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Drinking that lean. Yeah. It was a weird scene. Very large naked argument. In the middle of the argument, a panning shot of a lady's butt. It just sits on her butt as she walks out of the room. So, because it's so sexy, this movie. That's really what you want to see are butts after you just had like domestic abuse and shattered cough syrup abuse and
glass.
Hey, I'm turned on, so let's keep it going. Yeah.
James Franco, please yell at me some more.
Yeah, I'm 14. Yell at me. Bring your friend Brian.
So after that, Sonny goes back home to New Orleans, and when he gets home, his mom greets him crying, saying like, "You're all I've got." And then we cut from that immediately right into him fucking that old lady from before, like real rough. And it's, oh, look, there's a connection between his mom and these old ladies he's fucking all the time. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, his mom is way too deep in the know, and maybe his mom's banging these ladies too. I don't know.
Well, I think it's trying to imply some connection between, like, his mother forcing him into this lifestyle and the people he's sleeping with are all kind of like his mother in age and appearance. And it's, I don't know.
Horny, middle-aged married women.
Oedipus, the film. But, so, afterwards, she doesn't pay him enough money because she doesn't have it. And then she's like, "I'll refer you to all my friends, though." And he's like, "Okay." And you see him disappointed and annoyed. And, he gets more work.
I mean, I'm not in the prostitution game, but don't you ask for money up front?
Yeah, you'd think so. Like, yeah, I can't exactly take back my service afterwards, so like I should get paid first. Yeah, I would. Maybe this is a revelation, and like sex workers need to hear this. But
I hope sex workers listen to this. Besides Zach, who just lied about not being involved in prostitution in any
For
way.
legal reasons, I am not in the prostitution game.
So yeah, Sonny's getting more work. As he's leaving, Henry stops him and he's like, "I know you're doing the sex game thing again, and stop, man. You gotta stop. You gotta go.
It's a young man's game."
Yeah, it's a young man's game. And then he's like, "Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go fuck this lady dressed like a cop." And he does.
That was a weird scene.
He does a very interesting role playing, and then ends up banging this lady who, again, underpays him, and
he trashes her house in response.
We get our next freak out because he's like, "You know what? I know my worth," which is respectable. And then he fucking freaks the hell out, smashes all her shit until he gets the extra $100 that he was deprived of.
Yep, just smashes her TV and like pulls the drapes off. But I gotta say about that scene, he was like, she gives him 200, and he's like, "This is 200. It's 300," and she's like, "I know, and I'm giving you 200." It's just
what
like,
a bitch!
I thought he was supposed to be good at this, but also all these women seem to be like fairly well off, and it's kind of strange to me that they're like skimping out on on $100 for this presumably great dickin' they just got.
And not to be like sexist or anything.
Well, here we go.
I can see this making more sense if like the roles were reversed, where like he was a woman and it's these men who think they can overpower her or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like these are old women who are like, oh, this young man who is doing something illegal, I'm gonna try to be a cheapskate and not pay him. Like, what did they think was gonna happen? He would just be like, okay.
Yeah, he just
Sorry,
sit
ma'am.
there and be like,
I'll do better next time, ma'am.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, after he just did dominatrix stuff to her, like handcuffed her to the bed and stuff in that scene.
He had to go buy a fucking cop uniform and tip him at least.
Yeah. So that happens. Then he goes outside and thrashes in his car angrily, and he goes to pick up Carol, and we hear the story about his dad. It's apparently the only story he'd ever heard about his dad, which is his dad shooting a shotgun at a pimp who was trying to take his mom away and go back to Texas. So,
those such touching stories.
Yeah, and they even show the hole in the wall that the shotgun left, and you get really emotional about it.
Because they didn't fix the wall?
Yeah, in 20 years. And then afterwards, like, Carol says, I don't care what we do, Sonny, as long as I'm with you. And I'm like, okay, apparently they're in love after their one scene together. Like, where she paid him for sex. Like, I didn't fucking get it.
Yeah, so they're in love, and she wants him to put a baby in her.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know.
I'm driving here, too. I've really got to put my phone down.
Oh, from there, we cut to the restaurant scene. I think
my favorite scene.
Where Jewel is yelling at Henry like, you better go steal something so you can afford to take me out to a fancy restaurant on my birthday. And he's like, all right, I'll go steal something. I'll be right back. And then, bam, they're in a restaurant, and they're like, Jewel says, should we tell Sonny? And he's like, no, don't tell him or I'll leave and you'll never see me again. And we're like, that was the moment I was like, okay, obviously he's the father. Like, fucking obviously. But, like, you don't have to try and reveal this later. Like, what other secret are you guys keeping from him? Like,
that he's not good at fucking.
Yeah, he's terrible. Everyone's just doing it to boost his self-esteem.
That's why they keep underpaying him.
And the waiter tries to kick him out because...
do they ever show her shoes off?
She's like got her shoe half on, not fully on.
Oh,
that's
it.
And the waiter's like trying to kick her out, and he's like, "You're not wearing shoes. This is a violation of the health code." So Henry's like, "Hold on a second," and then takes him to the back and just holds a fucking razor to his neck and says, "If you try to fucking kick us out, I'll fucking kill you."
But like that waiter's also a huge dick.
Yeah, that waiter's a dick.
Because like she's like I didn't even see like her shoes off at all, and like they're probably under a table, or whatever. And yeah,
and the tablecloth goes all the way down to the ground.
Yeah,
so
but, like you should wear your shoes at a restaurant.
Yeah,
but when he's like, "Hey, can you just put your shoes on?" That's all he needed to do. But no, it's like, "Get the fuck out of here, you pieces of filth!"
Get the fuck out of here with
and
your
she's
bunions.
like, "But we're paying."
Yeah.
And not only does Henry here say, if you make us leave, I'm going to kill you, but he's like, you apologize to my wife.
Yeah.
And he totally cucks this guy into going and back into the busy restaurant and being like, I'm so sorry. Very interesting. Some good mob shit going on here.
Yeah. Then,
but none of it's relevant.
None of it's really relevant at all. We cut to Sonny and Carol going to a client's party, and they stay afterwards, and Sonny has sex with the wife, while Carol has sex with the husband.
It's beautiful.
I just might be out of the know, because I'm not a rich married couple. Is that what they do? Invite the prostitutes to the party, and then fuck them afterwards?
Yeah, they said, like, she said to him, like, the party was... It was necessary but inconvenient. She was so
Why
like she had to
necessary?
throw a party in order to have prostitutes over, which I didn't understand.
I mean, that's how I like to do it, but you do because I like to throw a party, invite your friends, and then all your friends are like, "Who are those two people that nobody knows?"
And you guys are hanging around a lot.
Yeah, and we're like, yeah, you can leave now so I can fuck them or something. And also, not only are they like in the next room, like, fucking this husband and wife or whatever, but, like, James Franco finishes up with the wife, and then they walk into the room where Carol's banging her husband. And, like,
and what's he saying? Like, oh, jeez. Oh,
jeez. You're the best. And then when they're all done and they clean up, their kids run in while the prostitutes are still there and hug the mom, and they're like, "Mommy," and I was like, "Okay."
Man, rich people are crazy.
Yeah,
gotta love it.
Then Carol and Sonny go through a drive through the country. Carol's like, "Do I make you happy, Sonny?" And Sonny's like, "What is happy?" And then we're like, "Ooh, bam, alienation, absurdism." And
he did read that book, didn't he?
She says she loves him, and then they're like out walking and it starts raining, so he gets like a convenient out. He's like, "Oh, the rain, we gotta get out of this," so he doesn't have to say he loves her, because what is love?
Oh my god, there's rain, we have to stop talking.
Scene of like, "Hey, I want to go for a walk," and he's like, "No, I'm wearing a suit, it'll get dirty, but come with me." "No, I'm wearing a suit, it'll get dirty." Like, for way too long.
Yeah, very long. Yeah, that went on for a solid minute at least.
Come on, no, come on, no.
But they go to a barn to have sex after that, and
did they like just break into this barn because it was raining and it was like the nearest?
Seemed that way. I have
nearest place to get out of the rain, and then also.
But they had a car.
Yeah,
I was waiting for like an angry farmer to bust in and be like, "Get the fuck out of here!" and like blast him with a shotgun or something.
Yeah, they're about to have sex, but then they're like, "What's that noise?" And then they go look over, and there's a dog with newborn puppies, and Carol starts crying because she wants babies, and then gets mad at Sonny because he's making fun of her, and he's like, "It's a dog! What are you fucking crying about?"
She's like, "How come you can't shoot your coming to me so I can be that dog?"
And she starts going on about she doesn't want to be a prostitute anymore. And Sonny says, "It's absurd to want that kind of life," which absurd, I'm going to call it back again to The Stranger, which I'm the only one who called it. The Camus' big thing is absurdism. So I think the filmmaker, or the guy who wrote the script, which was not Cage, he just directed it, read The Stranger and is like, "I'm going to make that, but with hookers." I don't know.
I mean, it sounds like a great idea to me.
I mean, more books should be remade into movies with hookers.
Yeah.
I agree. Ready Player One would have been a good movie, period, if it would have had a bunch of prostitutes in it.
If Harry Potter was a hooker instead of a wizard.
Hooky Potter. Hooky Proster. Prosty. I don't know.
Yeah, Voldemort's his mom's pimp.
Yeah. Oh. But Carol says...
Hermione, sorry.
Carol said she just wants to be like everybody else, and...
Rod Weasley.
Okay. I'm fresh out of these.
Dumbledildo.
Dildo door.
McGonagooch.
Dicko Malfoy.
Severus Snatch.
Hagrid-looking cock.
So Sonny.
So she wants to put the baby in the where do we leave off?
She said she wants to be like everybody else, and
right.
Then she's like begging him, "Tell me things are going to be different this time." And James Franco's just like, and we hear like pulsing like insurance commercial music with the piano where it's like uplifting and like everything's gonna be all right. Bam, cut to later. Carol tells Sonny that one of her clients has proposed to her again, and she's going to take him up on the offer, which I didn't realize until the very last scene of the movie when he shows up again. It's the guy she was giving a blowjob to in the car dealership.
Yeah, the dealership guy.
Who apparently, while yelling at her all the time and saying, like, "Yeah, just fucking finish me and I'll give you a fucking car, fuck." Throughout all of that stuff, he's constantly asking her to marry him.
Yeah, in between yelling, "Why can't I come faster?"
So she's like, "I'm going to take him up on the offer unless you want to run away with me. Like, I'm giving you one last chance." And he's like, "Can't do it. But I understand why you're doing what you're doing, and you go ahead and do that." And then Carol's like, "Okay," and leaves crying. Then here we go, because the moment this fucking scene started, I could call what was going to happen at the end of it. Oh. Henry is apparently a big gambler, and he's constantly losing a bunch of games of gin rummy.
Yeah.
So he finally wins a game with his buddy, And he's just like, don't you know what this means? And he's like, yeah, I owe you $60. Here you go. And he's like, no, don't you know what this means? My life is turning around. It's finally going to be good. And
everything's coming up Millhouse.
The moment he fucking says that, it's like he's dying immediately. And what do you know?
He is 1 day away from retirement.
Because they linger on him leaving this place for way too long. And you're just waiting for something to happen. And then the fucking truck from the Wicker Man shows up.
Which, yeah, we'll talk about that truck a lot, I think. Or I will. But, yeah, the truck shows up, smashes his car, it immediately explodes in a giant fireball, and he's dead. And
super fucking dead.
Then, after the funeral, Jewel, who is Sonny's mom, is telling him, you know, Henry was your father. And Henry didn't want him to know, because he didn't want Sonny to know that his father was a failure. Because his father had similarly tried, like, Sonny to get out of this whole life and, like, set up a business or something. And that's why he was gone for a period in his childhood. And he came back because he failed. And Sonny's just like, well, we're all failures. And starts binge drinking, wandering around town.
And he gets super drunk and they start playing King Crimson on the street.
Yeah.
So you know he's drunk. Also, while he's drunk, they keep doing like this weird like fisheye lens thing when they show his perspective. And I don't know about you guys, but I found that very disorienting.
I did find it disorienting. I gotta say though, the world has never looked like that to me while I've been drunk, and I always get confused why they do stuff like that. Like, everything still looks clear, it's just, like, happening fast, and I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah, you can show us that a character is drunk without making the screen blurry or something.
Mm-hmm. But, it was disorienting. I guess it was fairly well done, and, while he's wandering around drunk, he wanders up to some place and knocks on the gate and says, I want to see Acid Yellow. And so he wanders in and we get another cool disorienting shot because while the screen is being blurry, I will say this is cool. He's walking along a wall that is a mirror and he can't really tell which side is which and because of the screen blur. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was effective at points, but I feel like it went on for a little bit too long.
Yeah.
I would have been more interested like in the cinematography part if it wasn't near the end of this movie where I wanted it to be over.
Oh yeah, I was checking the timestamp constantly. Like, please tell me there's not. At this point, I was looking and it's like, oh fuck, there's 20 minutes left of this goddamn thing. Like, what else is gonna happen?
And I do have a timestamp here. This scene happens 40 hours into the movie.
But who is Acid Yellow? But the Cage. Finally, we get to see him. And he's in a crazy 70s ruffly yellow tuxedo and listening to the disco version of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, which I don't know if you've have heard that before or not, but you need to go look it up. It is the most 70s thing you'll ever hear.
And he has like a prosthetic nose or something on too.
Yeah. Like, and he's snorting coke. I don't know if the prosthetic nose was supposed to be he had nasal reconstruction surgery from all his coke, or if
I don't know what it was, but it's just like...
We need to start doing a prosthetic nose count, because this is not the first.
Yeah, and he says to Sonny, like, hey, Sonny, can I suck your dick? I think is one of the things he says right away. And then Sonny's like, nah, I'm looking for work. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll set you up with a client of mine. He's this real good guy. And then Sonny... He's like, okay. Sonny goes into a back room and a guy walks in and Sonny pretends to be a priest to the client briefly.
Yeah, and he gets down on his knees.
Yeah.
The client does.
Yeah, the client does. And then...
I was not getting that priest thing at all.
Oh,
I was getting like a dom thing.
Oh, yeah. I think it was supposed to be... It was a dom thing, but like he was a priest and he was like an altar boy and like that was this guy's fetish. So...
yeah.
But,
and so what does a priest do to an altar boy besides molest him?
Beat the shit out of him. And in the middle of this fight, Cage breaks in and he shoves Sonny out and then pulls a sword out of his cane and chases Sonny out of the place with it.
So
he's like, cut his face!
For anyone who's keeping score, we have Nicolas Cage as a pimp named Acid Yellow wielding a sword.
The biggest disappointment to this movie was that Nick Cage was only in it for like 5 minutes.
Very true.
And then we had to watch this whole movie for a 5-minute scene.
I feel like Acid Yellow deserves like an Arsenal treatment where he gets brought back.
Yeah, given a bigger role.
Can he meet the guy from Deadfall?
That would be fantastic.
One thing I do want to say about this, though, is it really kind of bothers me because, like, at this point, Sonny's like rock bottom is what they're trying to imply here. He's like getting wasted and wandering around, and it seems kind of homophobic that they would imply that at rock bottom he goes to have gay sex, but then they make it actually worse because at rock bottom he decides he wants to beat the shit out of a gay guy for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't fucking know. But
well, I don't think they're saying he's going out to go find gay sex specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was just going to find someone to beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, they have mentioned that he slept with men before.
Yeah. Well, I didn't notice that until the scene with Cage, where it got like kind of implied there. I was probably not paying too close.
The placement of this is a little bit questionable, for sure.
But anyways, cut back to Sonny at home. I almost said Cage because I just wish there was more of him. But Carol is coming back to get her things. She's like, I heard about Henry, and she's crying. Jules in the other room crying. Sonny is sitting on the couch, like in a daze, like staring into the distance, not crying because crying wouldn't be part of the absurdist nature of reality. And I'm sorry. They're all in separate rooms. Carol tells Sonny she's like, why don't you come outside with me? I don't want Jewel to hear this. And then she's like, you need to get the fuck out of here. Jewel has ruined your life. And then she leaves and goes with car salesman man who's like, you fucking bitch, why are you taking so long? He's just yelling at her constantly.
Marriage.
And Sonny imagines running away with Carol, and we're led to believe it actually happens until it fades out. And it's just Sonny staring at his door, deciding whether or not to go back inside, and roll credits.
Ooh, so deep.
So deep.
We don't even know if he got to fuck his mom like she wanted so bad.
Yeah.
For this
I'm
whole
pretty
movie.
sure that was the next scene.
I think so.
Legitimately, at that point where that scene where I forgot to mention this before too, but Sonny's mom was hugging him and saying like, "You're all I have in this world," and then it cuts to him fucking some lady. I thought he was fucking his mom at that part. And I was like,
it could have been.
Honestly, would not have been surprised because their relationship was very strange, and she seemed to know all too well how good he was in bed. So,
well, I think they mentioned too, like she starts him being a prostitute when he's like 12 or 14 or something.
12 years old, Henry said, and
so like good parenting, like regular.
Waited
normal.
for the double digits.
Yeah, almost teenager.
Yeah.
But overall thoughts on this movie: accents are bad. It's like I think I said before,
Plot is bad.
Yeah, plot is bad. It's like watching a bad porno movie introductions, but not even like funny ones. It's just like a series of those strung together between scenes of bad acting.
Like, and I've watched like other artsy movies and whatever, and this was definitely trying
like
to
G-Force.
be one. But G-Force did it good.
Right.
But like this whole story like was just so dragged on and on, where it's like you figure out what they're trying to get across in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But there's still 90 more minutes to go.
Yeah, really. Oh.
They could have trimmed so much of this. It like we said before, it just feels like completely repetitive. Just a lot of, and I like the freakouts. It kept things a little bit interesting, but were they necessary? No, not really.
Yeah, I mean, none of it really. And it's real fucking bad, guys. I don't want to spoil things about this matchup, but this may be my least favorite one we've watched yet. Honestly, I did not. The whole
it's
time
not
I was
my
watching
least
this.
favorite.
Yeah.
Nor mine.
Well, one of them definitely sounded worse. I'll tell you that much.
Cage's movies where he's going into weird, freaky sex stuff. When there's a lot of sex in a Cage movie, it ends up being a bad movie.
Yeah,
I think.
if you see boobs, it's a bad movie, and it stands.
That is the slogan of the podcast, and it did prove to be true in this film.
And see, those types of movies aren't inherently bad. Like Eyes Wide Shut is a great fucking movie, but like Cage does not do it well.
Yeah, this is just a rule for Cage movies.
Yeah,
boobs, bad movie.
But yeah. So I suppose we can take a short break, and then we'll be back to you with the Wicker Man.
And this movie made me hate sex.
Can't find a Wicker Man. DC versus Marvel.
I was just going to let this roll for a while, but unfortunately I'm getting a lot of calls from the boys in National Pleasures, so I'm going to have to take this. So this is rolling. Just wanted to let you know. I'll be back.
All right.
I wish I hadn't done my machine gun noise.
Okay. So, well, I guess we might as well just get right on into it.
Hey, welcome back to the Cage Fight Podcast.
We're back.
Hashtag GeForce Game.
Talking about Sonny round 2.
Hashtag down with GeForce.
We got some GeForce dissenters, but you know what? They're going to die an early death.
Oh, God. Okay, so The Wicker Man came out in 2006, rated PG-13, originally rated R, but they cut out some scenes that are the scenes you probably know this movie for in order to get it to a PG-13 rating.
And if you're like me, who acquired the wrong version, you will not know until the movie is over that you have missed the iconic scene.
Yeah. Yep. So we had to go look that one up on YouTube after, but which we've all seen it before. You all know you have. Directed by Neil LaBute. Runtime of 102 minutes. Here's a fun one. Production companies: Alcon Entertainment, Bright Light Pictures, Emmett Furla Films, Saturn Films, Equity Pictures, Millennium Films, New Image,
Jesus Christ.
Red Bus Pictures. And if you're wondering why there's so many, you're wondering the same thing I was as I sat through a solid minute of production logos at the start of this movie. I was just like, holy shit, like how many things can produce this?
Was it just a case of like production companies like passing duties off to each other? So like, I don't fucking...
Maybe. I don't know. How many studios got involved in order to make this thing that is flopped and is mostly known for memes?
Yeah.
Like,
Not the beans.
Oh, well, budget of $40 million, box office gross of $38 million. So all of those I guess losing $2 million spread 10 ways is not that bad.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like paying one unnecessary employee at the CEO level or something. Well, not even at the CEO level. That'd be $200 million. But reviews. This was actually reviewed more poorly than Sonny was. Tomato meter 15%, audience score 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, I'm guessing more people saw Wicker Man over
I think
Sonny.
a lot more people did. In fact, yeah, because this one was 38 million, and the other one made $100,000. So,
a lot of the reviews for Sonny are from people who haven't even watched it, just asking what the fuck it is.
yeah.
I watched it. I don't even really know for sure. So,
some general notes about this movie. This is actually a remake of a 1973 film starring Christopher Lee. And both Lee and the director of the original movie are not fans of this one.
Christopher Lee's dead now, so...
Oh, yeah.
His opinion
was
doesn't
not
matter.
a fan of this.
I think
he can't hear anymore, so no.
Basically, Christopher Lee said, don't care for the Wicker Man remake, and Nicolas Cage made him disappear.
Yeah, just fucking blipped him out of existence. Well, Cage claims that he and the director intentionally made this movie an absurdist black comedy, and that it was never meant to be serious, but you can take that for what it is.
That sounds like a retroactive description of the movie.
Yeah.
But why? Wait.
I don't know.
Because, let's see. What's another movie I can think of that was labeled a black comedy after the fact? The Room.
Yep.
So, yeah. That seems like a good defense mechanism, but we know what's up.
The Room keeps creeping in the discussion of these movies, as does James Franco, who appears at the end of this film, which I was blindsided by. I did not realize he was going to be in it, but he's in the last 2 minutes.
Of the theatrical version,
Yes,
which we
the
watched
theatrical.
by accident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparently he was also cut out of the unrated version, which is weird, because you would think that the unrated version would have more material and not less. Well, I mean, I think they average out probably if they cut out that torture scene and then they add the Franco scene.
Yeah, it's about the same.
Probably about the same amount of time. Yeah. Got any trivia there, Milady?
Not a ton of stuff that is super interesting. A lot of the dialogue, apparently 80% of it is like word for word identical to the original film. Also, this is not so much a fun fact as it is said at the end of the movie, but for some reason, this film was dedicated to Johnny Ramone.
Yeah.
Why? What
he loved bees.
I guess maybe.
Yeah, just a bee lover, man.
Is he one of the dead ones? Is that why?
Yeah, he is one of the dead ones.
Was it Tommy died?
I think pretty much all of them are dead at this point, aside from like Marky. But Joey Ramone, I think, was the first to die. Then Johnny died. Then I don't know.
Yeah, and I think he died from being so stupid because he was allergic to bees and then went to an island that is like 90% bees.
Yeah.
So I think that's how Johnny Ramone died.
Yeah. And
what's more punk rock than that?
Not much. I mean, it's kind of Wu-Tang-ish. Maybe Johnny Ramone got killer bead by the Wu-Tang
Holy
clan.
shit. I'd like to check
killer bees.
I'd like to check this movie back for RZA cameos.
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe it was dedicated to him because you know how he died, right? They threw him in a giant Wicker Man and set it on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I forgot about that's they did that at Live Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the proceeds went to charity.
Why wasn't that in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie?
Because Bryan Singer was too busy fucking,
Yeah, they made a miniature Wicker Man. And we're gonna shoot it like a model, but he thought it was a kid.
He put his dick through it, so.
And they couldn't wash the ejaculate off in time.
Yeah, and stop letting him make movies.
Yeah, seriously. So let's dive into a plot summary here. We open at a truck stop diner somewhere out west that Cage, a motorcycle cop, is in. Then, for some reason, we immediately cut away from the diner and it is never seen again, never relevant again. As we get a montage of Cage handing out tickets till we see a car lose a doll out the window. And he slyly just leans on over and swoops it up without even stopping and then pulls that car over to give the little girl her doll back.
And arrest the mother for being such an inconsiderate piece of shit.
So it's a lady and her daughter, and Cage gives her the doll back, and he's like, "You got to be more careful with that." And then the daughter just throws it right out the window again, and Cage is like, "All right, you little shit, I'm gonna go get that back." He goes to pick it up, and as he's leaning down, fucking semi slams right into the car, and it blows up. The car is on fire. Cage runs over, tries to save the kid, but it explodes before he can. And
yeah, he tries to punch out the back window, and the kid's basically like,
I choose that.
Like, hey, if you save me from this, fine, but I'm gonna make you do all the fucking work.
She's like, hey, I know you want to save me, but they're paying me to be creepy right now, so like I'm gonna just stand here and look ominous. All right.
Yeah. Also, this truck comes from fucking nowhere. Like nobody heard this truck coming. Like,
and they like pulled over. Like it has to.
Yeah. They are like way off the side of the road, and this truck. Is this the same truck that like drives past them initially? Like,
I think it's supposed to be, and then I guess it turned around
to kill this family. Because at first he pulls them over. This truck goes blasting by the opposite way, and the first thing I thought of was Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, somebody or somebody's cat is gonna get fucking blasted by this truck. I didn't think it was gonna be moments later the truck coming back the opposite direction to finish what it hadn't before.
Yeah, it really comes out of fucking nowhere. And I just want to clarify and point out, this scene is entirely pointless, but the movie really wants you to think it isn't, and will continually remind you of its existence throughout the film.
They'll keep you like, hey, remember that kid that died?
Yeah.
I feel like they just wanted this scene to like they basically gaslight you into believing that like there were bees in the car the whole time. Like, I don't know. They keep flashing back to this scene.
It has no relevance.
It has they're trying to like say like it was his daughter or something. Like, I don't know what the fuck
I couldn't tell if maybe that was supposed to be Rowan in there or something. But
yeah, it has no relevance unless somehow the people on this island set it up so that this family would be stopped by Nicolas Cage and then slaughtered. I don't understand.
So we cut from that to Cage taking pills, watching TV, when a lady cop, and I mentioned that she's a lady cop because I believe this is important to the film, and it didn't occur to me till later, but because there's an island full of ladies and they all like trick him into a thing, but
oh yeah,
there's men there too.
Yeah,
well,
she knocks on his window and congratulates him on his commendations for watching a girl get hit by a truck. I guess he gets commended for that.
There's nothing in between. This happens, and then we go immediately to this cop is like laid up and traumatized from this, but also like getting an award for
something.
Like, if he hadn't pulled them over to give this doll back, they'd still be alive. What the fuck are we rewarding this guy for?
Killing them.
Hey, there's 2 less fucking kids, just blonde people out here. I don't understand.
And we find out in there that the bodies in the car were never found, and the car was unregistered, so maybe it was all set up.
Yeah,
and
these people.
Wait, I missed that.
These people did not
line in passing
exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like. They had no records of who these people were. They don't know anything about them. They're basically ghosts.
Mm.
Very
okay.
And she's like, "Oh, by the way, here's this fucking letter."
Yep. Gives him a letter. She says, "This came to the station, and it doesn't have a stamp on it, so someone had to have hand-delivered it." Whoa. And it's from his ex-fiancée, Willow. It has a picture of a little girl in it. It says that's Willow's daughter named Rowan, who's been missing for 2 weeks, and she lives on Summers Isle.
She was named after Rowan Atkinson, the famous Mr. Bean. Sorry.
Played by him as well.
Mr. Bean plays this little girl.
Yeah, we get a lot of weird out-of-place comedy sketches with Mr. Bean, and it's... But Summers Isle is where they live. It's a remote island somewhere off the coast of Washington, where she grew up, and it's like an Amish-type farming commune where they don't have modern technology. There's no phones. There's no electricity.
There's no joy.
Yeah.
She wants Cage to find her daughter. So we cut on down to Cage taking a ferry down to the place.
He's going to Washington to find a missing child out of his jurisdiction.
Yep, as a
and not asking any local police to help.
Nope, not at all. Why would he do that?
He didn't tell anybody else that he was coming, but they knew he was going to be there somehow.
So he's taking some more pills. He's always taking his pills. I think it's supposed to imply that he's taking antidepressants, but I don't think you're just supposed to take those willy-nilly randomly throughout the day. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure
that's how I do
your
it.
doctor recommends don't keep a set schedule, take as many as you want whenever.
Yeah, whenever you feel sad, just pop one of these babies.
However many you can fit in your hand, that's your dosage.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, okay. We also, I don't remember why or when this was even brought up, but he's allergic to bees, right?
Yep.
So maybe he's just popping anti-bee pills.
The way that's brought up is while when he's unpacking his bag when he gets to the island, he takes out EpiPens that say bee allergy shot, which
I thought it's when he kills the bee at the bar right away.
Oh yeah, that too. He does say that actually, and then I think it really tries to hammer it home with the bee allergy thing.
For some reason, I thought we knew about it before that.
No.
For some reason.
I don't think so.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. Okay. I don't know why, though, I want to say that those EpiPens say B allergy shot, because it doesn't matter what the allergy is. The EpiPen is epinephrine. It is the same thing regardless of what the allergy is.
Yo, so I've been back for a while. I just haven't had a second to interject myself. Before I break my big news, I just got to say that burst of laughter there was really freaky because you guys stopped laughing at exactly the same time and seemingly just muted yourselves.
Yeah, you can see it down here, but we had a director telling us when to start and stop.
Yeah, Nick Cage is directing this episode. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm happy to hear that. I'm going to be taking this podcast a lot more seriously. I'm very sorry that I've offended you guys with my lack of interest at times. I might be out a different job, so I can't afford to be losing this job.
I'm so sorry, man.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that. And this is really none of my business, but have you kicked your epinephrine addiction?
Yes, but not my ephedrine addiction.
Well, what's going on with the other job?
Hang on, I gotta hit my EpiPen. All right, that's better.
Could hear.
Yeah, Arlo quit the fucking band.
Wait, Arlo quit the band?
Arlo quit the band. They want me to fix it, which they don't understand that I'm just a guy who turns knobs. I'm not their manager. I've been having to go on all these tours. I've been having to do all this work, just administrative, custodial, you name it. I've been doing all of it. I can't handle it. And now they're threatening to fire me as the lead engineer, but since they're only a shell of the band that they once were, now that they've lost Arlo, I could be. Hang on, Arlo's actually calling me. I'm paying attention. I promise, don't fire me.
We've
we threaten to fire him all the time.
We've never had more in common with the members of National Pleasure as far as threatening to fire Engineer Dave.
That is kind of disappointing to hear, though. Arlo was kind of the heart and soul of that band.
Yeah.
Cage fight.
You hear that, Arlo? Do you hear that?
It's powerful.
It's honestly, I played it at my niece's christening this past weekend, and she cried.
I was there.
Yeah. Yep.
For some reason,
Nick's my niece.
And I cried.
So powerful.
Anyways, so Cage makes a phone call and he loses cell reception. I think the whole point of the phone call was just to show that he gets no cell reception as he gets near this island.
Yeah.
Because it's a modern thriller, so no cell phone reception.
Yeah. You have to get rid of cell phones because they essentially work as plot holes in every single movie released after cell phones came out. So,
but Cage pays a pilot who makes plane deliveries to Summers Isle to take him there.
Not after there was a lot of arguing about this.
Yeah,
he's like, "Hey, are you going to this island? Can I hitch a ride?" And he's like, "You know what? This is my livelihood, and they're pretty touchy. So if I show up with some stranger, you might fuck up my entire life." And he's like, "Hey, what if I give you $100?" And then he's like, "All right."
Yeah, he's like, "Well, why don't you, instead of not taking us, why don't you take all of us?" And he's like, "Who?" And he's like, "Me, Mr. Franklin, and Mr. Grant."
Oh yeah, $150.
Oh. Me and him. And the guy just smiles and they're flying. So it's like, oh yeah, my whole livelihood, $150.
Hey, I can retire on this.
Which seems even dumber when you find out at the end, they want Nicolas Cage there.
Yeah.
Why didn't they make it easy for him to get there?
No idea.
Tell the pilot to stop being a fucking prick and just let this guy hitch a ride.
Well, don't worry, they just murder him anyway.
Yep, he did fuck up that pilot's whole life. But so he lands there, and all of the women on the island are immediately uncooperative right off the bat. They're like, "What the fuck are you doing here? Fuck you. You suck.
Private property, get off."
Yeah. They're yelling at him, and he's like, "Well, I'm here to investigate a disappeared girl." And all the while, two men are not saying anything, and they're holding a wriggling bag with blood pouring out of it. Which, come on, Mr. Cage, are your detective skills not going off here? That would have been the first thing I would have talked about immediately upon
They have
seeing
a
them.
whole conversation.
What's in the bag?
they do have a conversation, but it's about 2 or 3 minutes of talking.
Well, yeah, they have a whole conversation before he's like, "What the fuck is in that bag dripping blood everywhere?"
Yeah. And they're like, "Why don't you peek inside?" And he's like walking up to it slowly. We've got suspense music building, and as he's about to look inside, they shake the bag, and he jumps and runs away, and he never looks in the fucking bag.
We don't know what is
in that bag.
What kind of cop is this guy?
Well, also, I just want to point out, too, he's not a detective.
No.
He's not a detective.
He's a motorcycle cop.
Yeah, he hands out tickets on the highway. He's a highway patrol.
He returns dolls to little girls, and now he is in a completely different state investigating a missing person.
Well, returning dolls to girls, returning girls to wives or mothers.
Yes.
You know what? That's a good point.
That girl is a doll.
Yeah, and also she was thrown out of a window.
Me, Nick, she's like 12. What are you, Brian Singer?
Oh.
Got James Franco over here.
Yeah, just a quick note. I'm going to be producing Arlo Steele's debut album. So
he's gone solo already.
They're calling me again. One sec.
Oh. Well, I mean, that's good news, at least. We can still fire Dave and not feel guilty.
Yeah, that's rad.
He's got a fallback, so we're good. We're in the clear.
Yeah, maybe we can get
well, it looks like they already found a new singer, too. I guess it's going to be National Pleasure with Rome.
Oh!
And
the Rome?
I'm producing their new album, too. So looks like I got 2 jobs for the price of 1. So I'm not saying you should fire me, but I'm definitely not going to be paying attention for the rest of this fucking episode. So you might want to call me when the countdown happens. Yeah, just letting you know.
Will do. We'll be sure to fire you right around then. Hey, I mean, that's exciting, though, because regardless of whether or not we keep on Dave, I do want him to keep producing music for those guys, because they're cool.
And controversial opinion, Rome is my favorite Sublime lead singer.
Exactly. He's way better than whatever the fuck that heroin-addicted dude was.
Well, wait till you hear him in National Pleasure.
All I can say is I hope National Pleasure finally gets a chance to do a song with Wiz Khalifa like Sublime did when Rome took over. So,
well, anyways, so he runs into Willow on the island, or at the inn on the island, which I don't know why this island has an inn with rooms,
don't want visitors,
since they never allow visitors there. But and she takes his bags up to his room, while Cage orders a mead, because they make mead fresh on the island. Because
honey,
you don't know, mead is made from fermented honey, and they've got a lot of bees, and so
one less
bad news. It's the wrong Rome. It's Jim Rome. He's a sports commentator. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh God! All right.
Does he know Wiz Khalifa at least?
Maybe.
They said he does.
Oh, sweet.
Purvis knows him too.
Oh,
wow. You know what? I
might actually listen to Wiz Khalifa now.
I am rooting for the back half of National Pleasure's career, which rarely happens with bands outside of Sublime. So,
well, hey, I mean, I don't know. Toto got decidedly better. So did Van Halen. And both times, actually, Van Halen, they got better, and then they got even better.
Yeah, I thought
really good with the hope.
The last album.
I thought Van Hagar, or Sam Halen, if you want to call it that, was a huge improvement. And then when they got that guy that nobody knows or gives a fuck about even to this day, I thought they were at their peak.
From I think they were called Awesome.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what Van Halen became when he took over.
Yeah.
Right, extremely awesome.
Well, yeah, this will be good. I'm interested to hear Arlo's, singer-songwriter style.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool too because it gives Purvis an opportunity to sing a little bit. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Arlo. I think he's maybe the best rock and roll vocalist that's still doing it. Big.
Goosebumps every time I hear his voice.
Purvis has his falsetto is beautiful. Like, do you remember that guy that was in the Band of Gypsies with Hendrix?
That squealing guy?
Yeah, that guy.
What was he? That guy, the Ripper? Who? I don't know. I'm trying to make a fucking hair metal reference that I don't know about. So,
but yeah,
he played with the Ripper. Yes.
See? Well, I nailed it. So
I don't know exactly, but
rest in peace to them.
It's true.
Yeah, dude, the acid is really fucking kicking in right now, so I'm definitely not going to be paying attention.
All right. Well, have fun with that.
Enjoy your last paycheck,
yeah.
sir.
So after that, Cage starts slapping his badge on the counter and it just announces to the whole inn, "Hey, I'm here on police business and I'm going to want to talk to each and every one of you." And then the bartender or innkeeper correctly points out that he is a California cop and this is Washington and he has no jurisdiction here. But that does not stop Cage from waving his dick around.
So let's take a look at this for a second from the perspective of the patrons of this inn, right? So they live on a remote island, Amish style, everything, and some city guy shows up and starts screaming in their faces while slapping his wallet on the bar. So normal stuff.
Yeah, completely normal.
Also, the bartender knew he was a cop before he said fucking
anything
a
about
single word at all. She's like, "Yo, you're that fucking city cop boy." It's like, yeah.
Should have tipped him off a little bit. But yeah, she did bring up a good point. He's a California cop. This is Washington. Why didn't he bring local police with him? Like, what?
And his defense, which fixes the plot hole in the movie, is
he doesn't care.
I was hoping that somebody would fill in that blank because I have no idea what it is.
So then a bee flies into the bar and lands on the counter, and he just swats it, and the bartender gets super, like, horrified look in her face, and she's like, "Why would you do something like that?" And he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm allergic." And he walks upstairs.
Which I find hilarious because he's like, "Yeah, whatever, fucker."
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. You got more bees out there anyway.
So he walks up to his room, and Willow has left him a note saying he's being watched. And she's being watched too, and then he needs to meet her later in private. So he meets her in private. And
I like how too, like, she's implying that, like, oh, you're being watched, so we have to go somewhere where no one can eavesdrop on us or whatever. And he, like, doesn't try to, like, hide where he's going or anything. He just walks over to their meeting spot.
Strolls right on out.
In the, in the open, outdoors.
Out in the field. And so they have a conversation. Cage is like, "Why did you leave? Like, why did you run out before we got married?" And she's like, "I wasn't ready for marriage, so I ran back home." And then Cage is like, "Why don't you talk to the girl's dad, not me?" And she's like, "'Cause you're the only one I trust." And
the audience says, "He's definitely not the father."
No, there's no way he could possibly be. So Willow keeps insisting, "My daughter is somewhere on this island. I know she is." And then Cage is like, "Okay." So he goes back and he's unpacking stuff. We see his bee allergy adrenaline shots. Like, they're yellow and black, and they say bee allergy on the side of them.
Well, sometimes
case you couldn't tell what they were.
You just need to be reminded of what you're allergic to.
Be reminded.
And then he goes and asks, like, "Did somebody go through my stuff? Because my audio tapes, my Everything's Okay audio tapes are missing." They literally are titled Everything's Okay, and they've gone missing.
So we've got...
Also, that doesn't sound like a thing you just, like, want to tell people that you're listening to.
Yeah. Hey, did somebody go in my bag and steal my "Dick is Broken" pamphlet?
Yeah. My what to do when you have erectile dysfunction pills.
Jim Rome has been fired and Wiz Khalifa has been offered the job.
Damn.
I'm fucking...
They're moving up in the world.
Hashtag Taylor Gang. Hashtag GeForce Squad.
Yeah, can we get some people to tweet for this? Because this is a big deal.
This is a big deal.
I'll tweet out about it.
Yeah, I will definitely tweet and RT whatever Nick tweets.
And these are definitely going out live.
Oh, yeah.
Like, right after we record them.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as we're done recording, that's when the tweets go on.
Well, I sure hope Wiz Khalifa isn't found dead in the next couple weeks.
All those tweets, Wiz said no.
Oh.
So, to get back to the movie, Cage is having dreams of the girl on the ferry. He, like, walks up to her slowly, and taps on the glass, and she turns and looks at him, and the fucking truck comes by and hits her. And, like, I couldn't help but just burst out laughing when I saw that. Like, I shouldn't be laughing at a little girl getting hit by a truck, but the scene was just
hilarious.
It was done so poorly. It's just like, she turns around and looks at him with, like, a concerned look, and then... like, So, he wakes up, and he takes more of his pills right away. He's like, oh, I'm being sad again. Better slam the antidepressants. And then, he sees the little girl from his dreams running around outside, and he's like, Rowan! And then he runs out there after and runs into a barn, finds her red sweater in a barn, but no sign of her.
Hey, just got one question. So his dream girl is a preteen. What is he, fucking Bryan Singer?
Fucking Bryan Singer, man. Hey. This movie's about Bryan Singer.
Bryan, so why is he so obsessed with this little girl?
I really hope at this point the people listening to this know about Bryan Singer.
Yeah, I think everybody knows about Bryan. I mean, everybody should know about Bryan Singer.
Yeah, if you don't know already, and you probably should have looked it up by now. We've been referencing it for about 9 solid episodes of 9.
Yeah, and in case you missed any of those tweets about how, like, hey, there's a fucking child molester who's up for Best Picture, and all that good stuff. Dark Phoenix in theaters now. I don't know if he did that one.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea, actually.
Yeah, hopefully he's dead. So...
So he's in the barn looking around for her, and then the floorboards give out beneath him and he falls. And this is what I would like to call a scene cul-de-sac, because you enter and you leave and nothing has changed.
Yep. This was...
Dude, you jumped into that so fast, I still thought you were talking about Bryan Singer.
I actually rewatched this scene after he, like, fell through the floor, because I felt like I missed something, like
what was the point of falling through the floor?
And then I watched it again, and I felt like I had wasted 3 minutes of my life, because
Yep, you pretty much did.
It's just... This is also the barn that Sonny and Carol fucked in.
Oh,
yeah, there's a dog with some puppies there still.
Yeah, and...
I don't know how they got to this island and then left, but...
Well, I mean, that's how good at sex he is.
He takes you to a whole nother time and place, baby. So, then... you cut to the next day where a lady is telling him in a conversation where, like most of the conversations in this movie, both parties are being total assholes to one another.
Oh, it's so fucking frustrating.
Yeah, like everyone just yells at each other, and like it's just
like, I don't know, like at this point in the movie, we're not really being led to believe that everybody on this island knows who he is, but everyone that he talks to immediately fucking hates his guts.
Yeah.
Will not give him the time of day. And he is just simply, like, how does a person hear, oh, I'm looking for this missing girl, and their reaction is, hey, fuck you.
Yeah, like a fucking...
And like, understandably, from Nick Cage's point of view, it's like he's there just like asking simple questions, and they are just giving him the weirdest answers they could give him.
Yeah,
like, just...
I understand how he's getting frustrated, but like...
but then he goes to full, like, dick mode.
Yeah, just constantly and immediately. And, so, the lady tells him that their honey crop last year was cursed, and that they didn't make enough honey because of that, and I think they sell their mead from the island, too, and it's how they make some money for the island or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, then
he gets a cup of tea, and they give him, like, a bottle of store honey, and he's like... The fuck, bro?
Yeah, he's just like, what? Why is this here? And then she's just like, well, that's what we have for you. And he's like, well, don't you fucking make honey here? And then she's like, yeah, we do, but last year our fucking honey didn't fucking grow. And then he's just like, oh, all right, I see. Well, fuck you. And she's like, well, fuck you. And that's really only a slight exaggeration.
That's pretty much how it went.
I don't know why he was so mad about having store-bought honey, too. Like
this whole movie is trying to be like Shutter Island, but if on Shutter Island everyone's an asshole.
Yeah, no one does anything kind at all. He walks into the schoolhouse, and the teacher up front is asking a group of schoolgirls, so what are men at their core? And they all answer, phallic symbol, which was just like, what the
I didn't understand what that meant. Like,
men are a penis. I guess.
Well, when you think about it, humans are kind of shaped like a big dog.
I guess.
But they're not even saying like men are dicks or whatever, or men are just used for sex or whatever they're trying to imply. They're saying phallic symbol.
Yeah, they literally are saying phallic symbol.
Men at their core are phallic symbols?
Yeah.
Hey.
I don't know.
Like, oh my god, it was so weird.
So yeah, the teacher keeps standing up there making some misandrous comments to the children about how men are shit, and then Cage is
and
like,
it's all girls in the school.
Yeah, all girls. And Cage asks the schoolgirls if they've seen Rowan before, and they're all like, nope. And then Cage opens a desk and a crow flies out. And like, I fucking understand. There's an empty desk, and he's like, what's in there? That's where she sat, isn't it? Opens it, crow flies out, and the girls all laugh, and then he's like, what the fuck was that? And he's like, we put it in there to see how long it could last. and
he's justly asked the teacher, like, why would you let them do that?
Yeah, like, seriously. And then
I mean, like, as you know, when you walk into a classroom, every single desk is occupied. And
always.
If there isn't...
it is public school.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. If there is a desk that is empty, there's treachery afoot. And that's the
and
proof.
There's probably a bird.
Yeah.
Maybe Rowan turned into a fucking bird.
Is this Animorphs, the movie?
Ooh.
Could be.
Cage never even considered that in his investigation. But,
and that's why he's dead.
Can we, like, petition Cage to do an Animorphs movie?
I think we should.
That would be rad. Animorphs Extended Universe would be fucking chill AF.
Yeah, the Animorphs Cinematic Universe. I think we could pull that off.
Remember that
How many
episode?
of those books are there? Like 80?
It's like 100.
There's a shitload. And we could put it in the same, universe as Zandali, too.
Never mind, I'm against this.
But, so after that, he looks through the school's attendance book for evidence that Rowan was there, and he sees her name is just crossed out. Like, it's still there in the book, it's just crossed out.
Well, this kid's dead.
So he's like, you all lied to me. I'm going to arrest each and every one of you school children. And then the teacher is just like, let's go talk outside. And then says, Rowan burned to death in an accident and was buried in a churchyard. Willow knows that, but she's just like delusional with grief. And then he's like, really? Because like everybody else has told me different shit. And he's like, well, I don't know what to fucking tell you. That's what happened.
Like,
so
listen, hey, we didn't have a meeting where we all decided we were going to keep our story straight. All right?
I think she does something too in that scene where she says like a future tense of like, oh, she's going to burn or something. And he's like,
Yeah.
wait, what? And she's
Oh,
like, she burned to death.
The wording is very specific. So that at some point he can have like this revelation that
oh yeah, she says she'll burn to death, and then she's like, what? And she's like, she burned to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So he goes to the grave in the churchyard, and then Willow's there, and she's like, that's not Rowan's grave. They buried some rando there. And Willow says she thinks they want to hurt Rowan as revenge against Willow for having run away and met Cage all those years ago. And she's
Rumspringa.
And
Rumspringa!
And here's a shocker. She says to Cage that he is Rowan's father.
Holy fucking shit.
Mind fucking blown.
Biggest twist since I found out Harry Dean Stanton was James Franco's father, which I had suspected the whole time but wasn't sure about.
Yeah. So they go through and they look through Rowan's room, and they see some scribblings on the bottom of the desk that say "help me" and some shit like that. And Cage is like, "Oh shit, that's weird." And then he sees a plane. He's like, "I've got to go get the radio." And then another scene cul-de-sac. Some stupid stuff happens that I'm not going to mention because it doesn't fucking matter. But eventually he ends up swimming out to the plane when the pilot's not there, and he finds that the radio has been destroyed. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. We gotta get off the island.
So
we gotta go back to the island.
He starts.
We've got to move the island
in time.
Tell me your secrets, Grass.
So he finds out the doctor is also the lady who takes the pictures of the harvests, and the picture of last year's harvest, which was cursed, was smashed and the photo was taken. So he goes to investigate her house. He has a conversation with her that doesn't fucking matter, but then he goes outside and he hides and waits for her to leave, and then he breaks in and reads a note about fertility festivals where a young person was sacrificed to a god in a burning. And then he finds some photos of a bunch of young girls in a drawer, and then including one with Rowan, and he reads the back of that, and it's marked with worst harvest on record. And he's like, oh, she'll burn to death. They're gonna burn her because she had a bad fucking harvest.
She caused the bad harvest, and
bees really care what little kid you throw at them. So
yeah,
Can I just ask, why does this shit happen in all of his fucking movies? There's always a scene like this.
Yeah, I feel like every time there's a scene of him digging through a drawer and finding a bunch of pictures of little girls.
It always reminds me of Bryan Singer.
I had to check the director on this one.
Yeah. Well, I think that might have been Bryan Singer's house that was confiscated. They threw him off the island, but
and she has just jars of fetuses and stuff too.
Yeah, she also has jarred fetuses,
which never comes up.
Nope.
We got Mark McGrath, boys. We got Mark McGrath.
Sugar Ray himself?
Oh.
We got Sugar Ray.
Wow.
And National Pleasure?
No.
Or yeah,
actually, yeah. They're in talks, is what he said. They said initially that they officially got him, but then they said they're just talking to him. I'll inform you guys.
This would have been so much easier if we had asked Eminem before he stormed out.
Yeah. He was really pissed at you.
Yeah, I mean, hey. If you're going to do a music video with Triumph the Insult comic puppet dog, and you're going to try to tell me that I have to be amused by it, you're out of here. Sorry. I'll save my Eminem rant for the Eminem cast.
So,
What's up, on toy? I'm driving a Porsche.
Oh, Marshall's back. Marshall.
Points, weighing 4 toys.
Now he's gone again. Shit.
Thank God. It's starting to smell like Monster Energy drink in here.
So, he goes to Willow and he's like, why didn't you tell me about the harvest ceremony and shit? And he starts yelling at her because at this point he's just an asshole to her too, everybody.
There's no going back down for him. He's hit yell mode and he's gonna stay there.
Yeah. So she says I don't know, I'm sorry, I'm just I'm going crazy with grief. I didn't know what to tell you and what not to. And then she says, I'm sorry, I wish I'd stayed with you all those years ago. And he's like, oh babe, and then just stops yelling and they start making out. And
yeah, because that's what we were all hoping for
the whole time. It was a will they won't they thing.
Yeah, so to have this outcome where they're finally fucking rubbing faces, I felt completely vindicated.
Yeah. So then we get another pointless scene, but I like this pointless scene.
This movie is filled with red herrings and scenes that don't matter.
Yeah, it's seriously got a ton of them. Honestly, if you cut all of them out, the movie would probably be an hour long. If that.
Yeah.
But so he sees some guys loading logs. And then he's loading logs into a cart, and he walks up and he's like, hey, you want some help? And they're they kind of shrug and nod. They don't say anything, and he starts helping them. He helps them put one log on the cart, and then immediately fucks it up, and all of the logs roll off the cart. And then he just yells, he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And the guy's just shaking his head angry, and he's like, don't you fucking talk? And they don't say anything, and then he just leaves without helping them clean up the mess that he just made. I don't know why I like that. He just shows up, he fucks up these guys' work, and then he's just like, well, fuck you, and then leave.
Say something, curse me out or something. He was really just looking for some conversation, I feel like. Hey, that's why I fucked this up. So maybe we could have something to talk about. And then they were kind of dicks about it, and so he left.
Also, I think this is the point of the movie where I notice he's like riding a bike everywhere.
Yeah.
But I don't know where he got this bike.
No fucking idea whatsoever.
Definitely not. It was definitely not given to him out of the kindness of someone's heart on this island. Maybe out of, if there was like a broken wheel, they'd be like, "Yeah, take this fucking idiot."
Yeah, I don't really know where that came from, but at that point he leaves from there and goes right to a field full of bees, and then he's like, "Oh shit, bees!" and gets stung a couple times and starts running deeper into the field of bees until he passes out from an allergic reaction.
And they show like they do like an aerial shot where like it's a huge like honeycomb hex pattern of all these bees hives or whatever.
Yeah.
How did he not notice this walking into it?
I don't know. Like
he's deathly allergic to bees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna keep walking into this thing of bees. What could go wrong?
See, this is what I'm saying. The EpiPen says bee EpiPen because he forgets what he's allergic to, and then he finds himself in this fucking field of bees.
But so he wakes up in Sister Summersile's house, she shares a name with the island, and we've heard a lot about her up to this point. She gets mentioned a lot in conversations, but it hasn't come up.
Strong cult leader vibes. Yeah. Also.
But he said, so like he wakes up and they're like, "We saved you the old-fashioned way, not with this bee EpiPen. We did some other shit to you that saved you. None of that modern technology."
Don't worry, we won't say how.
None of that voodoo bullshit with your pen.
And so he's like, "Okay, well, I'm here to see Sister Summersile." And I made specific note of him saying that line because no, he's not there to see Sister Summersile. He's there because they saved him from the bees and they brought him there.
And like he just woke up.
This was all part of his plan. The easiest way to get to Sister Summersile is a near-death experience.
So he goes and talks to her, and he asks her, like, "Can I exhume the body of Rowan for an autopsy?" And she says yes, and then basically they have a long conversation where she says, like, "We get volunteers, and we sacrifice them to a Celtic goddess." And Cage is like, "That's still murder." And she's like, "Well, we don't think it's murder, and we just do it because that's what
cool
we do."
reason, still murder.
Yeah, he's just like, "Yeah, that's still murder." And she's like, "Well, I don't care."
Hey, we don't abide by your big city laws here, bro.
And yeah, she says, like, "I'm the earthly representative of this Celtic earth goddess." And he's like, "All right, well," he just has direct confession from this woman that she murders people, and instead of going and getting the local authorities, he's just gonna continue doing his thing.
I'm gonna dig up this grave.
Hey, he's a cop, and he knows what's best. All right.
He's a motorcycle cop. He knows what's best.
Hey, if this lady had thrown a doll out on the road, maybe he would tell somebody about it. But she has simply...
That's how he gets commendations.
She simply murders someone once a year.
So he digs up the grave and he finds a half-burned doll. Nothing else. And then he investigates... I missed this.
It's like some like tomb thing, I guess, that he just goes into.
That was like flooded. I don't fucking know.
And Jesus is down there.
Yeah, there's a Jesus statue in the underwater tunnel that he decided to swim down. And then someone locks him in because there was a grate he used to get into the tunnel. And he gets locked in, so he goes back and he's like, no, like yelling, like, "Let me out, you bitch!" And then he's yelling, "Help, help!" And then has some more flashbacks to the girl and a semi,
and there's more bees in the flashback this time.
Yeah, the lady cop's there, and there's bees all over. And so eventually, next morning, because it was night when this happened, the next morning, Willow has found him clinging to the grate, apparently asleep while he's doing that, and she opens the grate, and it's daytime now, and it's the day of the festival. So
yay!
Immediately upon her letting him out, he doesn't say like, "Thank you, oh my god, I was about to die." He gets up and he goes and grabs the burned doll that he left outside and he holds it in her face and yells, "How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned?"
Honestly, this is the point of the movie, like until the end, where I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, this is where the movie gets good.
Because like he just starts running into town, kicking down doors, and like yelling at people.
This is where it goes off the rails.
It was great. This is
so good.
So he she's like, I don't fucking know how this fucking doll got burned. Like, I don't even know what this is. So, like, and so he's like, he runs off to Sister Summersile's house and he starts kicking around doors like, where are you, Summersile? I need to talk to you. Kicks on one door and he finds a creepy old man with one eye in a bed covered in bee stings.
Yeah, he's just like, ugh.
He's like, ew, leaves.
So you need an EpiPen, bro?
Leaves, goes into another room, and he sees another lady that we've seen a few times on the island, naked and covered in bees. And then he's just kind of like, well, that's fucking weird. He runs out of the house, and we cut upstairs and see Summersile laying in her bed with her arms spread out in like a T pose, and she's just like, they're like, he's gone now, and she's like, excellent. I don't know what that means, but because that's never addressed again, really. So then he runs up on the teacher from the schoolhouse, and she's walking a bike, which is the bike he was riding before, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It could have been, maybe.
Maybe the scene was supposed to be earlier in the movie, and it explained how he got the bike, but with editing, they put it later. But
maybe he was such an asshole that she stole his bike.
So he's like, give me that bike. I'm a cop. And she's just like, no, I'm not giving you the bike. And he's like, so he pulls his gun on her and says, give me the bike. And she's like, fine, just don't fucking shoot me. Take the bike. Rides the bike to the tavern where all of the men are. And then he's like, hey, men, you get this? Like, I need your help. And they all don't say anything. And he's like, well, fuck it. So he runs to the dock again.
He was supposed to, in order to get them to speak, he's supposed to say the key phrase to them, which is, these women be shopping.
And as he runs to the dock, like, they cut to, like, a bunch of kids in animal masks looking at him and, like, they duck away or something. It's just like, okay, cool.
And he's down at the dock. He goes to the dock with the plane, and he finds the pilot's body with its eyes gouged out and its mouth sewn shut. And, fucking pilot's dead, thanks to Cage.
He's not. Looks like he's not going to get to spend that $150.
And, like, he doesn't even care, really. He just leaves and, like, gotta find Rowan.
Oh, fuck, that sucks. I'm not a cop.
We don't have Mark McGrath.
Oh.
What the fuck?
Might have Mark McGuire, though.
What about Marky Mark?
Oh, you should get Marky Mark.
Marky Mark. He's actually one of my favorite musicians, so that would be a big opportunity for me.
Wait, here's an idea. Marky Mark, Mark McGuire, and Mark McGrath supergroup.
Whoa.
What about, you're leaving out Mark Morrison?
Oh, and Mark
Return
Morrison,
of the
too.
Mac?
And Mark McGuire can play the drums by hitting a garbage can with a baseball bat. And
their symbol is Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
What if
Return of that Mac?
and Mark McGuire also he placed a triangle with a syringe.
Hell yeah. Okay, looks like it's not that Mark McGuire.
Oh.
There's way too many misdirects in who we are getting for this lead singer position.
I don't know how they
who
know
are we
this
getting to replace Engineer Dave?
Now, bear in mind, they've been coming to me for organizational type things because they don't have a manager.
Yeah, we know that's a mistake.
I didn't know you knew Mark McGuire. Or...
Oh, no, they have those connections. I don't know any of those people. I'm just telling them, go for it, boys.
I see. You're like a fatherly figure in there.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, go ahead and fire me, fool. It doesn't matter to me. I got better jobs.
I mean, I understand you giving us this ultimatum, and I really hope it's not a bluff, because fine.
We'll do it.
We've been saying since what, like episode 2 that we're having
I
open
don't know
auditions?
why you keep showing up, honestly. This can't be good for your self-esteem.
It's good for my paychecks, though.
Well, I guess.
We haven't been paying him either.
I've been just giving him like butterscotches at the end of the night.
I give him Monopoly money, and I on the backside where it's blank, I write real money in pen.
Really?
Oh, no, it's totally real.
Oh, yeah.
It says real money on it.
Yeah, take it to fucking...
That's what makes it legal.
You can take that to the bank.
Hey! Yeah, hopefully Nicolas Cage isn't robbing it.
I can't believe...
Look, I'm sorry, Dave. Can you hold it together for the rest of the podcast and we'll talk about this?
Yeah, we're so close to being done, and then we'll put you in that big wicker statue that we built in the backyard.
Worst thing they could have possibly told me that Mark McGuire is out.
Don't worry, you got that new wicker apartment in the backyard.
We just have to get like a big log and put it on your legs for a second, but don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So we cut to Cage slowly, stone-facedly walking into the inn. Just slowly. And the bartender innkeeper lady is there, and she's just staring at him. And he's just staring at her. And he walks up and stops. And then fucking socks her right in the face. Knocks her out cold. One hit. I laughed audibly at that. That was great.
So did I. That was
so
insane. We really love hitting women on this podcast.
So then he gets attacked by the other innkeeper, the one who like makes the beds and stuff. And who he also knocks out.
Gets like a fight scene with.
Yeah, gets like a big fight scene until he kicks her into the wall and she shatters all the paintings and then passes out. And he puts on a bear suit that's there. And then...
Because apparently that's a thing.
Yeah.
Their festival is for furries.
Yeah. And he is fully participating. So
this is a special bear suit in that it appears to be made of an actual bear. It's not a fake bear skin thing.
Who would have guessed that Nicolas Cage's persona was a bear?
I honestly wouldn't have guessed. He seems
more like more of a twink. I guess that's James Franco.
Oh shit!
Except apparently James Franco just likes little boys. I didn't even know that. He's a regular Bryan Singer.
I'm pretty sure it's little girls, but
yeah.
Oh, okay.
He meets up with Bryan Singer. Bryan gets the boys, and James gets the girls. And that is how they made X-Men First Class.
Anyway, so the residents are having a ceremony which involves them walking in a procession in a long line in animal costumes to the ritual site. So Cage runs on up in the bear suit and finds Willow in the line.
I was like, "Psst, it's me, Nicolas Cage."
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, okay. Hello, Nicolas Cage."
and like the scene before when he was with Willow, he like tells her like, "Hey, stay here, like barricade yourself in." And then when he meets her here, he's like, "Why didn't you stay put?" And she's like, "What? You wanted me to miss the procession?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So they walk up and they get to the site, and Rowan is tied to a log right there with a bunch of kindling put around her because she'll burn. So then they're talking, and Cage then is like, "Okay, this is my chance." And he runs up in a bear suit up to the lady who's next to it. And the lady's just like, "Sister, is something wrong? What are you doing?" And he runs up and in a bear suit clocks this lady in the fucking face.
He punches a lot of women in this movie.
And in a bear suit, nonetheless, too. That I don't know. That was pretty fucking great. So he unties Rowan, and they run off together. And this is where you're thankful that Bryan Singer didn't direct this, because
a totally different movie then.
So as they run off together, then Rowan immediately runs back, and Cage is like, "Where are you going? Slow down!" And then Rowan leads him right back to that group of women right fucking there. And Willow and Rowan are there, and Rowan says to Willow, like, "Did I do good, Mommy?" And she's like, "You did great, sweetie." And look, shocker, Willow and Rowan were in on it. I didn't see that coming.
Big double cross.
It was a setup, because they needed him to come here, because they need a stranger who's not a relative to the island, but who is related by blood to some of the residents there. It's been a setup since Willow and Cage were engaged back in the day. Like, it was all planned since then.
So she left the island, fell in love with somebody, got pregnant, and then estranged herself from this person to eventually...
So 11 years later, they can send a cryptic message so he hopefully goes there.
Yeah, as a cop outside of his jurisdiction.
And then put him on a wild goose chase for a few days and then kill him.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's a wonderful plan. Yeah, and apparently Willow is Sister Summersile's daughter. So.
Ah, yes. And what I love about this plan is that there's absolutely no room for error. It is airtight.
And here is, if you're watching the unrated version, you get the infamous "Not the Bees" speech.
Not the bees! Not the bees!
So
infamous because of the G-Force Gang signature drop.
Oh, God. I did appreciate that part of it. But we hear the sounds of his legs being broken. In our version, we don't get to see that. They cut that so they could get a PG-13 rating instead.
But they keep the sound of everything.
In the theatrical version, it's like an overhead shot of the procession, and you hear Nicolas Cage's legs being crushed while he's screaming.
He's like, "You bitches! Killing me won't bring back your goddamn honey."
I don't believe it.
Yeah, he like makes it clear, like, I don't even believe in this. Like that would have changed everything. Like, oh, our bad. We thought you were a believer.
See, we need true believers to sacrifice. Whoops.
Oops.
So let me just unbreak your legs real quick.
Yeah. So it was at that point when I heard that happening, which I know precedes the Not the Bees part, when I heard his legs being broken, because you don't hear the audio of Not the Bees.
Yeah, for some reason that's not on there.
I think because it doesn't make sense if you don't see it. Yeah. Like if you just heard Not the Bees, you'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Well, maybe if he would have screamed something more specific, like "Not the bees! I'm being stung by so many bees, and you're funneling them into my head."
You put a mask on me and are pouring bees into it. No,
they're stinging my eyes, so I'm opening my mouth and screaming, so they'll go in there instead.
So, yeah.
But yeah, basically they do that torture, but like if you watch the torture scene thing, then they use the EpiPen to get him back.
Make sure he doesn't die from that, so he can die by fire. Mm-hmm. I don't know why they torture him. That didn't seem to be a part of the pagan sacrifice ritual.
Like, and I also know the movie's called Wicker Man, but when does the actual Wicker Man, what is the point of it?
I don't know.
Like, they could have just tied him to that stake where they had Rowan.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the ritual. But,
it's never brought up earlier.
It's never brought up throughout the entire movie. This is the only scene that the Wicker Man is in, and I really feel like the whole movie could have used, like, one shot of it or something when he got on the island.
Yeah.
Like, what is the Wicker Man?
To be like, it's like our Burning Man festival kind of thing.
But like, we're going to do some peyote and fucking watch that shit burn to the ground. But there's none of that.
No, it's just all of a sudden he's in the Wicker Man.
Yep, they hoist him on up there. And they light it on fire as the women chant, "The drone must die." And that is the point where I understand the whole bees thing. Because, bees, there's a queen, the male drones just mate and die. So
exactly.
The drone must die.
You bitches! You bitches!
Also, they don't just light him on fire. It's Rowan who sets the whole thing ablaze.
Yeah, Rowan is running up with the torch and he's like, "Rowan, sweetie, don't do that, please." Like, don't.
Daddy, no, don't. Daddy doesn't like to burn alive, honey.
And she's like, "What if I did
it?" She burns him. And
she's not getting any dessert tonight, I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah. Anyways, Cage burns to death. He dies.
Cage burns to death. The head of the Wicker Man drops to the ground, and in the unrated version, it cuts to the credits.
But in this theatrical version we watched, we are treated to 6 months later in California. James Franco.
James Franco. Sonny himself.
He's good at fucking.
He is plowing somebody. No, not really.
He's following a male prostitute.
He's watching a male prostitute do his job.
Well...
But it cuts to James Franco and some other guy.
He's just graduated from the police academy and is in a bar about to celebrate. And
because apparently that's important, I guess, for them.
It's got to be a cop.
Got to be a cop. They love their boys in blue.
Yeah, and it's got to be a cop from California for some reason.
Yeah.
I guess to ensure that they don't actually have any legal jurisdiction there or something. But
then why get a cop at all?
Also, Oregon is closer. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it shows Willow and the other girl.
Yeah, the girl who was covered in bees from before, who showed up a few times. They've heard that James Franco is good at fucking, so
they're like, "Hey, put a baby in me."
And they're like, "What if we go? Can I go back to your place?" And then Franco smiles as we hear Cage's screams from the Wicker Man overdubbed, like his burning alive scream. And
then they over the credits they overdub the sound of James Franco fucking his mom's friend.
Oh yeah,
and then getting underpaid for it.
I only have $150. Sorry, Sonny.
Sucks to be a male prostitute.
It does, and in this economy, it's
Wicker Man, like that last 20 minutes is just so good.
Yeah,
Like the whole I'm just smiling that whole time.
It was a fun movie.
Ridiculous.
I mean, I know there was a lot of unnecessary nonsense, but
the whole last half hour kind of makes it worth it.
Yeah,
honestly, that alone, it's great for bad movie night. And the movie does have some bits that feel a little misogynistic almost, but it's the unintentional comedy, which apparently is not unintentional according to Cage and the director.
Yes, but, again, retroactively.
But it makes it worth it, and it makes you able to sit through this.
I felt this movie was trying to do a lot of that B parallelism with the whole Queen and everything. Mm-hmm. But throughout the movie, they don't try to hit on that at all until that very end scene, basically. Yeah. Where it's if you would have just laid the seeds for a lot of this stuff earlier, this movie would be a lot better.
Yeah, if it had that coherent B narrative throughout, which I didn't realize they were going for that at all, until the very last scene.
If there had been some middle ground with how bash you in the face the themes were in the previous movie and how absent they were in this,
and they don't say why the men don't talk at all, or do anything.
They don't say anything.
There's no reason behind any of it.
Hey, when's the last time a man has said anything worth hearing anyway?
For the last 8 episodes on the Nick Cage podcast,
and that is a self plug. Hell yeah! I'm firing finger guns in the air.
Cage's face punching moments are great.
Oh, it's so good.
If you don't watch this movie, you got to at least look that up on YouTube. If you've probably seen Not the Bees. Look up Cage punches lady in bear suit.
Yeah, look up everything that leads up to Not the Beast, because it is
and I don't think we talked about it. When he's running through the town or whatever, he kicks down a door and there's a woman with her kid, and she's and he's oh, where's Rowan? And they say some nonsense. He goes into the next room, comes back in, and there's a little girl laying on the floor. Turns out it's just some other girl. And they're just ha, got ya,
yeah, punked.
And he's just and runs out.
Yeah, he says, "Oh, you bitches!
You bitches!"
Yeah. So, I suppose now,
man, that movie was weird. The Wicker Man could have been a really good movie.
Yeah, I kind of want to watch the original now, because I feel the premise is interesting. It kept me engaged the whole time.
Yeah, this for
the most part,
kind of suspenseful thriller kind of thing. It could have been really good.
Yeah.
From what I can remember from the original, I don't think the bees are a part of it, and I don't think it's I don't think it's a woman's colony. It's a hippie colony where they're trying to commune with nature. Whoa. But otherwise, it's kind of the same thing. And I don't know. I haven't fucking seen it in 10, 12 years or something. But
I feel if they didn't have so many red herrings, if it was something that you could kind of piece together as you're going through, but so many of these scenes are just yeah, that doesn't matter. Yeah, that doesn't matter either.
Yeah. I actually have a tweet that I thought was funny about this, because as I was watching this, this YouTuber Todd in the Shadows that I follow is really funny. He watched this movie coincidentally and was tweeting about it, and he describes The Wicker Man. He describes it as a whodunit, but you don't only not know the who, but you also don't know the it or if anything was done at all. It's a who-ha-what, which I thought was actually a great summary of it. I
think that's a great description. I always thought, watching through this, of the, what's it called? 10 Little Indians or whatever.
Yeah.
Where it's
the Agatha Christie story.
Yeah, where it's ooh, what's going on? What's all this shit? Except you don't know any of the shit that's going on.
Yeah, you don't know anything. You couldn't piece this together. I mean, you kind of know, if you know about the Wicker Man, that he's gonna burn as a Wicker Man in the end. But I don't know. The movie doesn't give you anything to figure out.
It gives you just enough where you think you might know oh, this is where this plot is going, but it's just oh, nope, dead end. Going this way. Oh, nope, dead end.
It was kind of it was very oh, you didn't see that coming, but didn't really earn the.
It's you didn't see that coming because it was just random, not because of.
But I was watching season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, exactly.
Motherfuckers burned.
But yeah, shall we bring it to a vote?
I guess we should.
Yeah.
Hey Dave, how about the last countdown you'll ever do?
Nah.
Ah, just what I thought.
Yeah, and that's why you're on your way out, sir.
3,
We'll just
2, 1.
The Wicker Man!
That was an obvious one.
Yeah, you could probably tell right off the bat at this episode.
Sonny was real bad.
Yeah, Sonny was, homophobic. This was a little bit misogynistic, and we just hate women more than gay people, so we have to send the Wicker Man through.
My biggest issue is I just hate James Franco, and there was more James Franco in Sonny.
True.
That's true. Yeah. Minimal James Franco.
I mean, we can replace him with Baby Franco, and I'm more okay with him, even though Baby Franco has a very, very punchable face too.
I feel like Sonny would have been so much better if it was Seth Rogen fucking all those ladies.
Yeah. I
would have enjoyed his laugh a lot more.
Arlo is back in the wait.
Oh, what the fuck?
Arlo is not back in the band. They're talking to Jim again.
Jim Crow?
Oh God, I hope not.
Oh shit.
Jim Rome.
Jim Jones.
Oh no, it looks like this is actually the Sublime Rome.
Oh.
No, it's Jim Rome.
Okay.
Sure it's not Jim Jones? Either the rapper or the cult leader?
I'll check.
That'd be another good misdirect for you. I feel like this whole fucking national pleasure dialogue has been a lot like the Wicker Man.
Where it's you don't know what's happening next, but there's no clear direction.
Yeah, and a lot of scene cul-de-sacs.
Yeah, and both would be better if Dave wasn't involved. So,
I mean, I understand about the podcast. That's fine. If you want to just shoot your shot all night. That's fine.
Oh, were you
that's
listening?
Like what the kids say. But if you're gonna talk about the national pleasure work, I mean, the sales speak for themselves, my friend.
They do. I won't knock you on that. But yeah, keep us updated on National Pleasure if you can. Like, send me a text or something, because I don't know if you'll be here anymore. But
yeah, and we'll tweet that out. Keep everybody updated on National Pleasure.
G4 Squad,
America's first and only Nicolas Cage themed rock band, and of course my G-Force gang out there. We're gonna build an army, and anyone who opposes us will feel the full extent of our wrath.
Is it an army of home appliances?
It's an army of home appliances and more importantly, children. It's a child army. And no, I'm not making a Bryan Singer joke.
When I started hearing about Home Appliance Army, I kind of tuned out.
You are about to join G-Force, the government's
G-Force
most elite team of spies on a top secret mission in 3, 2, 1.
G-Force, Delta formation.
So I guess we'll see you next week when we will be covering Captain Corelli's mandolin and dying of the light. And stay strong out there, G-Force gang, because we will take this world over.
I am not G-Force gang.
G-Force 2. G-Force 2. We need a reboot.
That was a perfect time for the explosion.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been a Solid Work production.
Solid work. Solid work. Solid work. Hey, solid work.